It's time for Michigan Sports Talk Morning Show, broadcasting live all across the state of Michigan and Northwest Ohio. This is X's and Bros.
Swings it out to Sadiq Bey. Defended in the corner.
To Abdul-Rahman at midcourt. Extra pass. And it goes for the win. The three-pointer by Jordan Poole. Here's the give. Walker. Kenny Walker. Touchdown. Smarty.
Goff's got it. Back. Looks. Throws. Ends up.
Yes.
Caught. Touchdown Detroit Lions. They did it. Amon-Ra St. Brown in the receiving end.
Sends one to deep left center field. Back it goes, and that ball's out of here. A grand slam from Miguel Cabrera. He's got 2 goals. Larkin in on goal. Scores! His first career hat trick in his 7th season for Dylan Larkin.
Here's your host, Anthony Bellino.
Rise and shine, folks. Good Wednesday morning to you. It is Hump Day, the 11th day of January 2023. We welcome you here to X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network. Danny Cahalan, Ryan Elke, Anthony Bellino, all joining you. Thank you for joining us, no matter who you are, where you are, how you may be listening, all across the great state of Michigan and in Northwest Ohio as well. From Traverse City down to the Glass City, GR to the Motor City, we say good morning to you. We welcome you. We thank you. We appreciate you. And, of course, we encourage you. Join the program at any time. Text the keyword sports radio. Send that to 21,000. Sports radio to 21000. Meyer Supercenter guest line 248-951-2176. 248-951-2176. We're on Twitter at XB Mornings, Facebook, X's and Bros. And, of course, good morning to our television audience on BCSN, now streaming live on YouTube at Michigan Sports Network. That's the page. You can, plenty of ways for you to get in contact with us. You can hit us up on the old fan feedback email inbox, xbmornings@gmail.com, or find us individually on the Twitterverse as well. Danny Cahalan is at Dan in the studio. Ryan Elke is at RyanL_Key, and I'm Anthony Bellino at AC Bellino. Did either one of you get a message from a guy named Austin looking for some Carlos Correa video?
Yes.
Were you able to help direct that young man into where?
I told him that the video that I was referencing yesterday about his knees was on TikTok that I saw, but I'd have to do a deep dive into all of my liked videos on TikTok to go back and find it.
Ooh. It was on TikTok?
Yes.
Huh. Interesting.
TikTok has a wide variety of videos. From your, general thirst traps to your MLB baseball news, carpet cleaning videos, car detailing videos.
When you say general thirst traps, what do you mean by that?
It's exactly what I mean.
Well, I mean, for the older audience that might be listening, we got to help them out here.
Oh, very attractive women just doing things that...
Let it hang out.
Yeah. So
there's weird ones though. Like
I don't know what
I'm not going to tell you. Like there's just like there's weird thirst traps is what I'm trying to say.
Again.
Hey, you know what? We'll allow you to continue to do our research on that side of things. I don't have a TikTok, so yeah.
You kind of just need the app. Just so, like, when your friends send you something, you don't have to watch it in the text thread. You can watch it on the app.
Well, that's why whenever I send you guys TikToks, I save the video from the app and then just send the video.
That makes sense.
I'll tell you what, that's a nice feature that they do have on that site.
Yeah, because when you save it, it automatically puts the username over the video, like watermarks it on the video.
Right. We're not worried about, people stealing somebody else's video and tweeting it, but it is nice when you have the ability to save a video and then tweet out, because not everybody from a sports perspective, not all teams will share the same content on their TikTok as they do on their Instagram or on their Twitter, which I find is strange.
Oh, I felt bad. Like I think it's when the Lions beat the Bears, they posted the
The bread video.
The bread video. They posted that to TikTok, and I saved it and posted it to my Twitter and got a lot of traction from it. I tagged the Lions in the tweet saying, this is great work, but I felt bad because, like, it's like, guys, this is hilarious. Just post this to Twitter.
Yeah, I don't know why they don't do that. Not really.
Well, all the team, like the professional sports teams, that's where they let the creative juices flow. Is over on TikTok.
It feels like they're a lot more lenient.
Yeah.
On that Chinese government
they know
website.
They know what the audience is over on that app.
I feel like they're getting a lot looser on just overall. I think that more people are understanding of the use of social media and some of the funny stuff that social teams can come up with. Like the video that we played yesterday from the Lions that had everybody with the music in the background. That had everybody's predictions on that Lions-Green Bay game. I think that most people are aware that the social team does not control roster moves, so there's no point in tweeting them about that. They're just having a good time. And they're trying to be creative and trying to, like the Horned Frogs. I don't know if any of our listeners have been following along with what TCU had been doing with this this disco frog thing.
It's called Hypnotoad.
Hypnotoad is it's like a frog on acid. I don't know what else to say. If you were around in the 70s,
that's exactly
maybe you
what it
understand.
is.
And a lot of music, a lot of visuals. Well, the Georgia Bulldogs released Hypno Dog in like the third quarter of the championship game, which I thought was pretty funny. But they're one that they did to Michigan as a Michigan fan, highly disrespectful, very funny. Like that's what the social media is for. It's for the fans to be able to enjoy, and the race for creativity and the arms race that is there to pump out the old C word that I can't stand, content. I mean that's what they do, and they got big teams that they put together of people that do this kind of stuff. So it's pretty interesting. It's definitely come a long way from things being very serious. I can't believe their account tweeted that to, oh my God, I can't believe their account tweeted. You know what I mean? There's been like a change, as far as accounts that will troll each other. Like the Lions throwing the bread with the L on it to the bear in sitting in the park or whatever. Like that's,
And it's even moved to, because of social media, it moved to even the mascots because of what's his name, Gritty, the Flyers. Right. Like he's extremely disrespectful, which is hilarious. The Braves mascot, he's hilarious. Like they. Now and then those mascots also have social media accounts which makes it even better.
A good account to follow too is Toro, the Houston Texans mascot, because they just do videos once a week of him popping out in the facility scaring people as they're like walking into the building.
Wow.
Or through the Texans account. You know how they have the mannequins with like the jerseys?
Mm-hmm. They'll
put someone from their social media team dressed like the mannequin standing right in front of the door and jump scaring people.
I like that. That's fun. I don't know if I could, handle it every week from a working at the facilities perspective.
Well, they say they do it to different groups of people, so it's not the same group of people getting scared every week.
Well, that's good because you don't want to get punched in the head. Because I'm surprised that hasn't happened.
Well, he's wearing a helmet, so I think he welcomes it.
Good protection. All right, coming up on today's program, MSU winner chicken dinner last night in a road game at Wisconsin inside the Kohl Center. So that is good. Update on the Big Ten standings, plus what happened in the Mid-American Conference last night. Did you know that LeBron had an exclusive ESPN interview last Friday? I mean, we haven't talked about it at all here. I was part of the wide group of folks that were trapped in going to social media trying to figure out why they told us at 10:30 on ESPN2. LeBron had called this interview with ESPN, but I was watching gymnastics. Like, I couldn't figure it out. And it turns out that ESPN never actually really aired the entire interview. It's the strangest story. The Pistons, with an awful effort last night, Wings won a thriller. Logan Lamorandier will join us, and the coach and GM both spoke. We'll play you Brad Holmes' comments and thoughts from the 2022 campaign coming up a little bit later on in the show. We'll step aside, come back, talk a little Breslin ball next here on X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network.
Whether it's jackpots or colors of the rainbow, 7's a special number. At Meijer, it's no different. Get more for your money with 7 for $7, no luck required. Mix or match specially marked items. Buy 7 or more and get each for only $1. From Meijer Instant Oatmeal and Meijer Pasta Sauce to Meijer Facial Tissue, there's so many ways to 7 for $7. Plus, California Sweet Seedless Mandarins just $2.99 for a 3-pound bag. And shop the same low Meijer prices in-store and online. Exclusions apply. See all the deals in the Meijer app.
From planting a simple seed to managing a global food supply, growing, processing, and distributing food is the backbone of America. You deal with food safety and labor issues, cost control, and not to mention Mother Nature. But do you have time to explore research development and biotechnical tax credits? Properly administer payroll for temporary employees. Ensure that you're operating at your most profitable? That's where we come in. We're Bean Garter. And while your business is America's food supply, our business is helping you run your business better. We'll assist with tax credits, assess your processes and controls, and so much more. And while we may not be able to help you plant your crops, we can help you realize a rich financial harvest. From the family farm to worldwide distribution of all the things you grow, grow your business better. Experience service, expertise, and simplicity at Bean Garter. Find us online. BeanGarter.com. Bean Garter.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Share your thoughts all morning long on the Meyer Guest Line. Call 248-951-2176. That's 248-951-2176. Now, back to Danny, Ryan, and AB.
A little razzle-dazzle there. Inside, a little pick and roll. Looked like he threw a highlight ball out of that. You guys ever watch highlight? The one with the, it was, I think it put on a lot of people's radar from the early 2000 films of Jackass where they were throwing fruit out of the highlight hooks. I don't know what else to call them. They're the giant thing you hook to your hand, and the highlight ball goes in at about 100 miles an hour, and they were hitting each other with like oranges. I don't know if you remember that or not.
Yeah, it's like a slingshot, kind of.
Yeah, it's like a giant. It looks like a sickle. Like if you were to attach a sickle to your arm.
They have like the little ones for kids. That's like a little scoop, with the wiffle ball.
Oh, a little scoop and score. But yeah,
thanks,
a little
George.
Highlight pass, where you go one handed like a hook shot, just zip it on in there. That's always nice. Good to see a little pick and roll game. Working out well for the Sparties last night inside the Kohl Center. They beat Wisconsin 69-65. Joey Hauser finishes the night 6 of 8 from the field, 2 of 3 from 3, a game high and team high 20 points for Michigan State, which improves to 12-4 on the year, 4-1 in conference play, and begs the question because Jaden Akins went for 12, Hogard had 10, Walker had 13. Malik Hall had 8 off the bench with 5 rebounds in 27 minutes. So he struggled to shoot the ball a little bit. But when you're 3 for 6 and you got one other guy, A.J. Hogard, that's 3 for 8, those are the guys that are struggling to shoot the ball. Those are great problems to have. My question becomes this now for Michigan State with that win. A little gritty, right? Grit's a nice word. I wish that we had the gritty mascot in Detroit. That would be fantastic. How good can Michigan State be is the question, I think, moving forward. That's what I want to know. Like, how good can this team be?
We'll see. Illinois Friday, and then a little Monday matinee Martin Luther King Day action versus number 1 Purdue. So
that's a tough turnaround.
So we'll see. But and yesterday too, like MSU, they were shooting themselves in the foot. They had 14 turnovers. Wisconsin had 27 points off the turnovers. Michigan State had 2 points off turnovers.
Yeah, in all actuality, that game probably shouldn't even have been close.
Right. And, yeah, they had some guys that were averaging 10 points a game, getting 10 points in the first half. So some guys for Wisconsin got hot. Jaden Akins came out really, really well then, just the rest of the game. He was just – the court was not a friend to anyone last night because it looked like it was a turnaround from a hockey game. So there's a lot of sliding from both teams on the floor last night. So
yeah, you got to put that big pad down. What are they doing up there in the Kohl Center?
Yeah, they're playing hockey as well.
The unfortunate part about the scheduling thing is that, okay, so you played last night, and now you're going to play in a couple of days on the 13th. That's a 9 o'clock tip-off at Illinois on FS1. Illinois that's going through some – I mean, Illinois' got some issues right now.
They've won their last 2, though.
They have won their last 2, but they do have they've got some and they are 11-5, right? It's not as if they're burn it all down right now. They got that big win against Wisconsin. They went on the road, it beat Nebraska. They're 2-3 in conference play, which included a 13-point loss on the road to Northwestern. They lost to Penn State early on in the first go-around of Big Ten games. They lost to Maryland as well. They had a win over number 2 Texas. Like, they've been very, very hot and cold. Has this Illinois Fighting Illini team. And it is Sky Clark left the team for a minute. I don't know what his status is. It sounds like when he was first leaving, it sounded like he was going to hit the portal in the middle of the season. But then in a statement from Illinois, it sounded more like he's just leaving the team to take care of himself, which is something that we've seen more and more of I just don't know enough about this Illinois team to really. I can't write them off yet, but they definitely don't seem as good as the Andre Curbelo, Kofi Coburn, Veshanishvili. I can't think of the guy who looks like. Who's the rapper that shot the Meg Thee Stallion in the foot? Tory Lanez. Right? Who is the point guard?
You know what Tory Lanez looks like? Like I know some Tory Lanez songs. I could not tell you what he looks like.
Yeah. He's like Tory Lanez with braids. It's exactly what he looks like. That's what he reminds me of, at least.
Now, I haven't watched enough Illinois, but would you classify him like the same team as like Michigan, where it's talented, but like, what are you doing?
I don't even know about that. I really don't. I gotta wait till they play Michigan State.
Right. Say I haven't watched enough Illinois this year because I don't care to be perfectly honest.
I checked on OG Weck on Twitter the other day. I sent him a wellness check. I looked up a tweet.
Oh, is that your boy?
That's my boy from Illinois who always says that I stink and swears at me. So it was over the weekend, and I don't know what brought it up, but I was giggling. So I was like, you know what, I gotta find it. So I just searched my name, and I think I searched the word poor because I think he called me poor one time. And so he said he took a picture for the Big Ten championship game. Said I'm rich, you're poor. That's great. So I just wanted to do a wellness check. I'm like, hey man, I haven't heard from you. He's like, shut up. I'm doing fine. I got banned from Twitter a couple times. Said, oh, good. Okay, glad to see you're still here, alive and kicking, man. That's fun. So hopefully Michigan State can go on the road, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you're a Michigan fan or a Michigan State fan. When you play Illinois, we are one Great Lakes state together.
This is where we come together as basketball fans.
This is that moment where we put all the tunnel gate stuff aside and we gel for 2 halves of basketball, which could take anywhere between an hour and 45 minutes and 6 hours to play, depending on the foul calls.
Well, then it's FS1 as well.
Oh, God. The commercial breaks. So you'll have Illinois on the 13th, and then real quick turnaround, get back home as quickly as possible to take on number 3 Purdue.
Yeah, that game.
You mentioned on Martin Luther King Day. That is, I mean, it's Big Ten basketball. I don't want to make an excuse, because if these guys dream of playing in the NBA, you're going to play back-to-backs. You're going to play 2 and 3. Like, it's going to happen. But it is such a condensed, like, let's just cram all this in right now in college basketball once we get into conference play. It's absurd.
Yeah, and the Purdue game scares me because Zach Edey is just
good.
gone to another level this year, to where his first 2 years, he was almost a novelty. Just because, like, look how huge he is. And it's like, oh, he'll get 8 points. He'll get he'll get offensive rebounds. And then I think it was his last game, he went for 30 and 15.
And he could pass it out of there, too. I mean, the pass, like,
you just got to hold the ball above your head.
That does help. That puts the ball at 15 feet in the air. He catches the ball at the block. Who was Purdue even playing? He catches it. He waits for the double team perfectly, kicks to Fletcher Lawyer, Foster's brother, and Fletcher just knocked one down from 3. They might have been taking on Ohio State, because that might have been Ohio State's first conference loss. I think that's what it was. Last week, and it was just, he can pass out of the post. He is the largest human I've ever seen in person. I can't overstate the fact his cranium is the size of a football helmet.
Yeah,
like, the dude is just monstrous.
Go ahead. To tie up the game real quick, you said Malik Hall, AJ Hogarth struggled. They scored like the last 15 points for State, so they struggled for a good 58 minutes or 38 minutes.
And the thing about me saying that they struggled was the fact that if that's your struggle, if 3 of 8 is a struggle, that's a good struggle to have.
Right.
That's a really nice. I'll take 3 for 8 versus somebody going, 2 for 12 any day of the week. If that's as bad as it gets, shoot, I'm all for it. All right, we'll step aside when we return. Did you guys know that LeBron James had called an interview with ESPN? Did you guys know that?
I had no clue.
You had no clue. I don't know. A lot of people didn't. And then they forced us to watch gymnastics instead of the actual interview itself. We'll talk about this debacle that took place next year at X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network.
Finish
Fish On! The Ultimate Fishing Show, Detroit, January 12th through 15th.
At the Suburban Collection Showplace with over 7 acres of the newest fishing tackle, fishing boats, and fishing trips. Take it from fishing pro Mark Zona.
This is the largest pure fishing show in the country.
It's the fishing boat show. Buy from dealers who know how to rig them right.
Shop fishing tackle only available once a year. Seminars on 5 stages.
Meet guides and lodge owners.
The Ultimate Fishing Show, Detroit, January 12th through the 15th. At the Suburban Collection Showplace. It's Christmas for fishermen.
Huge here with a reminder that I'll be live this Friday, 3 until 6 statewide from the Ultimate Fishing Show Detroit inside Suburban Collection Showplace in Novi on the east side of the state. This is the biggest fishing show in America. Over 4 football fields of fishing tackle, fishing trips, fishing boats, and also it features like Ultimate, a huge indoor lake, on the water seminars daily. Look for the huge show live at the Ultimate Fishing Show Detroit this Friday, statewide, 3 until 6.
Whether it's jackpots or colors of the rainbow, 7's a special number. At Meijer, it's no different. Get more for your money with 7 for $7, no luck required. Mix or match specially marked items. Buy 7 or more and get each for only $1. From Meijer Instant Oatmeal and Meijer Pasta Sauce to Meijer Facial Tissue, there's so many ways to 7 for $7. Plus, California Sweet Seedless Mandarins, just $2.99 for a 3-pound bag. And shop the same low Meijer prices in-store and online. Exclusions apply. See all the deals in the Meijer app.
Huge here for the Michigan High School Athletic Association. You can stay up to date on the latest from Lansing 24/7 at MHSAA.com. At MHSAA on Twitter and MHSAA on Facebook. The latest news, press releases, and stories connected to every high school in the state of Michigan, available for you 24/7 from the Michigan High School Athletic Association. Log on to MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. And if you're looking for archive, boys and girls, high school sports, MHSAA.TV. That's MHSAA.TV. 24/7, everything you need to know about high school sports in Michigan. Log on to MHSAA.com.
Welcome back here to X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network. Danny Cahalan, Ryan Elke, Anthony Bellino, all joining you. Thank you for joining us, no matter who you are, where you are, how you may be listening, all across the great state of Michigan and in Northwest Ohio as well, from Traverse City to the Glass City, GR to the Motor City. We say good morning to you. We welcome you. Thank you. We appreciate you. And, of course, we encourage you to join the program at any time. You can text the keyword sports radio. Send that to 21,000 Sports Radio to 21000, or give us a call on the Meyer Supercenter guest line, 248-951-2176, 248-951-2176, on Twitter at XB Mornings. And Dan, Ryan, want to tell you guys, last night had the opportunity to get together with my parents because tonight I have shooty hoops, so therefore I could not go out to dinner tonight. We had to do it last night because today is my mother's birthday. She's 35 for like the 30th consecutive year. Very exciting stuff, and had a nice dinner last night. It was a lot of fun, and I always enjoy getting together with my parents. So, today is Mom's birthday, celebrating at Danny's Fine Foods all day long. So if you wanna,
where did you? Does your mother have like a favorite type of food that you guys traditionally go to, or do you guys switch it up?
I wouldn't say like it's not like oh man she
like,
wants to have like Italian food.
Yeah, or seafood or a steak.
Yeah, I would say like steakhouse is probably
cheese balls
her go-to, followed up by a pound of cheese. It's always a good mix there. Eat a steak and then have a pound of cheese afterwards. It's good get the system going a little bit. But so it was Mom's birthday, and fun to sit there and have dinner. And my dad was trying to, the restaurant had brought out a candle to put into her dessert. And they're like, we won't make a big deal out of it, but it is your birthday, so we're going to light a candle. So that was nice. I FaceTimed my sister, and so she could see. And because my dad was having a lot of trouble trying to get the FaceTime to work with my sister. So I was like, I got it. It's fine. You just take some pictures. That's a good time. So happy birthday to my mom, who's probably listening right now, getting aggravated about something. The NFL playoff action continues. We're one step closer to Super Bowl 57 in the desert. Waste Management Open, Super Bowl, all in the same weekend in the same city. My goodness. Getting ready for the NFL divisional round and Super Wildcard Weekend this weekend. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, has this great offer where new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in free bets instantly. Just download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code HUGE. New customers bet $5 on the NFL. Get $200 in free bets instantly. Promo code HUGE only at DraftKings. If you or somebody you know has a gambling problem, wants help, needs help, call the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services Gambling Disorder Helpline at 800-270-7117. 21 plus. Michigan only. Bonus issued is free bets. 1 boost per eligible game. Opt-in is required. 10 plus legs required for the 100% boost. Deposit, parlay, wager restrictions apply. Eligibility and terms at DraftKings.com/football terms. Sorry about that. It's a lot. That is a lot. All right, let's get to USDA Scott, who is on hold. Good morning, Scott. How are you, my friend?
Hey, buddy. Hey, when you're
man.
talking about my Sparties, I wanted to get on before you got into two of my least favorite subjects, LeBron James and ESPN. But I wanted to talk about the Sparties. As forward player and bench coach, I wanted to let you know the magic number is 10. The magic number is 10 turnovers. We have 10 or less turnovers, we can beat anybody in the country. When we have 15, which is about what we average, it is a crapshoot because we got to work.
Scott, it's been 84 years since MSU has had a game with less than 10 turnovers.
Don't say that. We have more turnovers, Ryan, as you know, because it is coach's philosophy to push the ball and take chances. you rarely see a guy get yelled at or coach get upset about somebody trying to find somebody down the floor, even though it might be a bad pass or he's always looking to push it. So we are going to have a few more turnovers. I mean, we're not going to be Wisconsin that turns the ball over 5 or 6 times a game because they walk the ball up the floor. It ain't going to happen. But anyway, the magic number is 10. The reason I say that, at 15, if we have 5 more shots, we shoot about 40% as a team. That gives us 4 to 5 more points. With 5 turnovers, the average is that we give up 6 points in 5 turnovers. So you give us 10 or 11 points more every single game. In a game.
What kind of cockamamie math did you just come up with here? He said if you carry the 2, shoot 12% better, then you get up to 40%. That's worth about 6 points. But then you have the turnovers. So you subtract 15 points for turnovers. Jeez Louise, you lost me. Huh?
You need a tutorial. Okay.
Yeah, I guess I need to see the visual of whatever you just said.
We need a Tom Mansky basketball tape.
The national average on turnovers is about a half a point every turnover. So if you have, a point per turnover. So if you have 5 less turnovers a game, you're giving up 5 less points. If your team shoots the ball decently, you take the percentage of what you shoot to the amount of shots that you would get from 5 turnovers. So if we got 5 extra possessions, we would score 4 to 5 more points, and we give up 5 less. You get it now?
That sounded a little condescending there at the end there, Scott. It sounded like you got a little attitude there for 6:42 guys trying to do basketball algebra at 6:45 in the morning. And don't call me because you've been up for 6 hours. You're all wired up talking about turn just because your team can't take care of the basketball. Don't be mad at me. Don't take it out on me.
That's a problem. But anyway, I'm heading to the warehouse. I got my Wednesday walkthrough. I got to help my buyers out a little bit, make sure that we have everything for our lovely customers.
You got any eggs over there?
I got eggs. Yeah, we got eggs. But
steep right now. Hey, eggs. Hey, like if you have a chicken farm, you're like Pablo Escobar in 2023.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, everybody's charging what they can get, and you're right. They're making extra money on that, but I can't blame them because if it's like we have 3 right over here on by the lake shore that service everybody from Walmart to Meijer to Spartan. So and even Gordon's and the others, but so we're fortunate. But still, they're not being. They must be talking because they're just going by the national average. Yeah, like for 15 dozen, it's like $85.
Yeah, the what was it? The bird flu that wiped out the population, and that's why eggs are in a shortage.
26 million birds, or 2.6 million birds.
2.6 million birds down for the count.
And they can't do anything with them either because. Well, usually they don't. We sell when we slaughter hens. We send them to overseas. We don't use them. We don't use egg-laying hens because they're too old. They're 2 to 3 years old, and the meat is a little different. So we send all that overseas, India and Asia. But
good trade.
Anyhow,
here, have our old chicken-laying hens chicken breast. There you go. It's good for you. Bulk up.
So. I'm just teaching this morning. I don't know.
Hey, I like it.
Yeah, how do we go from basketball algebra 101 to egg price and egg math?
That was not 101. That was advanced. That was a 400 level class on.
I was just gonna say
turnovers and points off turnovers.
That was more like advanced algebra, not 101.
Yeah, this
but
guy,
anyway,
unbelievable.
You guys have a beautiful morning, all right? And yeah, Sparties, they can beat anybody if we can keep the turnovers down because that also means we get 3 or 4 extra rebounds a game.
Well, I appreciate the call and the tutorial. Thank you very much, Mr. USDA Scott. Now, there is a I don't know if you saw this, but last week on Friday, I believe, there was this breaking news on the internet that LeBron James was going to have a one-on-one sit-down with ESPN that nobody knew about prior to that this allegedly was going to air. I didn't know if he was going to be in a jersey, if he was going to call this thing from the locker room. Like, I didn't know what was going on. Nobody did.
The Boys and Girls Club of Cleveland, Ohio was going to show up?
Yeah, what in the hell? So they're like, okay, LeBron's going to have an exclusive interview with ESPN. It's going to air tonight, 10:30 on ESPN2. And I was like, okay, so 10:30 comes around. It's Friday night, and I'm sitting at home not doing anything because I'm a good person. And I flip over to ESPN2, and there's gymnastics. So then I hop on Twitter, and I'm like, yo, what is going on right now? Everyone's like, why are we watching gymnastics? Where is this LeBron interview, right? People are pretty funny on the internet about it. Well, eventually the whole interview came out. It came out in bits and pieces on Friday, and then eventually it all came out yesterday. And I think they aired a portion of it on ESPN's NBA program with my girl Malika Andrews on it. And look, when I first saw that he was like, the way that I look at it is this, and sure, you might think that I'm crazy, and that's totally fine if you do, but no one has been talking about LeBron James being fewer than 500 points away from breaking Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's record for the most points in an NBA career. No one has discussed it. No one's been talking about it. It's like an afterthought. Did you even know that was a thing this season? That LeBron James is going to break Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's all-time record for most points scored in NBA history? Were you aware that was even possible?
I did see that a few weeks ago, but I haven't like kept close tabs on it.
There's no ticker on the ESPN, like lower bottom third, when they're, the Lakers are playing, like, oh, there's a bucket. LeBron only needs 300. It's not being made a big deal at all.
Well,
it's an afterthought.
500 still like a little far away to do a ticker.
Should we do it at 100?
Well, you get to 150.
Should they talk about it at all? Like, hey, LeBron James is within 750.
Oh, is LeBron James upset that he's not getting media attention for the first time in 20 years?
So the attention word that starts with a W, that doesn't sound like it starts with a W, person that LeBron James is, yeah, that's why he called this whole thing, because nobody's talking about it. So he's going to do this big exclusive sit-down with Dave McMenamin of ESPN, and I guess Windhorse is out and Dave's in. But this is the way that LeBron James has been his entire career. And as we were talking about this in the beloved group chat there, I asked the question, and it was about the time in which LeBron James's house was vandalized. And, mind you, I am the minority in the chat. And I just said, hey, I want to see one photograph. I want to see one photograph, TMZ, a neighbor, the cops, LeBron, anybody to show me. And they're like, wait a minute, you think LeBron James lied? I said, all I'm asking for is one photograph of where his house was vandalized. You're not going to vandalize LeBron James's house and get away with it. Kobe Bryant died in the middle of the mountains, and they still had photographs and video of the crash site like almost immediately. TMZ was all over that. You're telling me they can't get footage of one of LA's biggest stars if his house gets vandalized in the manner in which he said? Like, yeah, LeBron James is starved for attention. And when he's not the center of the spotlight, this is what he does. This is what he does. And then he went on to say about how, like, he's not worried. He wasn't worried about trying to win the scoring title, and he sat out all the games last year at the end of the season because he wasn't going to win a scoring title in a meaningless season, and that feels corny to him. And then he talked about his, son, and how playing in the NBA with his son is, the final task, and how great that would be. Your son's like the 70th ranked prospect in his class. Probably going to get an NBA look because he's LeBron James Jr. Depending on the timing of the contracts, you might be able to line it up so where you could draft LeBron James Jr. and get LeBron James on the same team. We know that he wants to pull off the Ken Griffey Sr., Ken Griffey Jr. because he believes it gives him a one-up on Jordan. I watched the whole thing transpire, and I'm like, dude, this is just nuts. Just play. Just play. Like, I'll never I'll never think that LeBron James is better than Michael Jordan. There are some out there. They're often referred to as bronzesexuals on the internet, which I find is very funny. But there are those folks out there that will live and die LeBron James. I think that he has taken advantage of very inopportune times to try to throw his name in the mix. I think that even when, I think it was Jalen Ramsey who caught him lying on his own program. LeBron, you definitely, they say on the internet that you're lying, and this is one of those times where we all think you're lying, and everybody laughed, and now it's become like a meme. It's something that we shouldn't be talking about. We should always be talking about what's going on the court, because everything else just kind of takes away from what has happened there. And our first glimpse at this was the Boys and Girls Club in the greater Cleveland area when he was going to take his talents down to South Beach. And there was an article out there today, why first-round picks are of no use to LeBron James. Because it's the LeBron James franchise fatigue factor. Like, he walks in, you mortgage your entire franchise's future by just trying to add pieces that can help right now. You trade all your draft capital away, and then you're just left there in the dust. The fact that Miami was able to recover at all after the LeBron James, Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade era was pretty incredible. But LeBron James, remember, he was going to Miami. He was going to join Dwayne Wade. Chris Bosh was joining Miami. They had to work those salaries out together, and Miami already had a somewhat decent nucleus in place. Plus, they had Pat Riley. It's not going to be a pushover. You're not going to walk in there. Now, Sam Amick had wrote for The Athletic about how LeBron James's patience is waning, and LeBron quote tweeted him and said, "That's not what I said. That's not what I meant," because it's typical of what we see, from this guy over the course of his years in the NBA. Like, it is what it is. And the fact that he had this big interview planned to talk about the scoring record, and then ESPN didn't even air it. We were all forced to watch 10 minutes of gymnastics before we all figured out this isn't going to be on. Let's just turn the station. Only for it to come out later. It's a complete debacle. Like, nobody has time during an ESPN doubleheader to air some sort of sit-down interview. We're going to do it before tip-off, in between games. There's not enough time for 15 minutes of that. You had to do it on Friday night. Like, it doesn't make any sense. The NFL playoffs are on. Get out of here. But that's LeBron James in a nutshell, and that's why guys myself and USDA Scott, we just don't really don't really dig it. I want my basketball players to go out there and do the best job possible of playing basketball. Because
Michael Jordan, he was 0% about himself, huh?
Well, Michael Jordan's 6-0 in the finals, so I don't know exactly what how you're going to try to compare LeBron James to Michael Jordan, but Michael Jordan came from the era where guys were hurt and tried to convince you that they weren't. This era of player, guys like LeBron James, LeFlop, these guys try to convince you that they are hurt when they're not. And if you're going to be about yourself, it's a completely different era, by the way, as well, as far as media attention. But, yeah, I mean, when you're the global icon, the first ever global icon in the sport, I guess, yeah, maybe you can, if you're just a replica, copycat wannabe, then, yeah, sure, you're always going to come up short in second place. We'll step aside. We'll come back. Hour number 2. Don't go anywhere. Keep it locked right here to X's and Bros, the Michigan Sports Network.
The best vacations are RV vacations. Let's go somewhere.
The Grand Rapids Camper Travel and RV Show at DeVos Place is back. It's the biggest RV show in the state with the best RV deals. See over 300 RVs, luxurious motorhomes, fifth wheels, travel trailers, and ultralights. RV accessories and services, hundreds of camping destinations, Alaska RV seminars, and more. That's January 12th through 15, DeVos Place. Buy your tickets at GrandRapidsRVShow.com.
Huge here reminding everybody across Michigan to check out the biggest RV show in the state this weekend, the Grand Rapids Camper Travel and RV Show at DeVos Place. It runs Thursday through Sunday. Get your tickets now at GrandRapidsRVShow.com. You can check out over 300 RVs on site at DeVos Place this weekend, Thursday through Sunday. It's the Grand Rapids Camper Travel and RV Show at DeVos Place in downtown GR. Get your tickets now at GrandRapidsRVShow.com. RVShow.com.
Whether it's jackpots or colors of the rainbow, 7's a special number. At Meijer, it's no different. Get more for your money with 7 for $7, no luck required. Mix or match specially marked items. Buy 7 or more and get each for only $1. From Meijer Instant Oatmeal and Meijer Pasta Sauce to Meijer Facial Tissue, there's so many ways to 7 for $7. Plus, California Sweet Seedless Mandarins just $2.99 for a 3-pound bag. And shop the same low Meijer prices in-store and online. Exclusions apply. See all the deals in the Meijer app.
Huge here for all the Mr. Car Wash locations across Michigan. You're going to want to look into that unlimited monthly pass that I use. Superfly Hayes, my producer, uses it. I can get my SUV washed as often as I like for one low price. You can sign up today. Just go to MrCarWash.com or stop by your local Mr. Car Wash location here in Michigan for the one close to you. And to get that unlimited pass, go to MrCarWash.com. Huge here for the Michigan High School Athletic Association. You can stay up to date on the latest from Lansing 24/7 at MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. The latest news, press releases, and stories connected to every high school in the state of Michigan, available for you 24/7 from the Michigan High School Athletic Association. Log on to MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. And if you're looking for archive boys and girls high school sports, MHSAA.TV. That's MHSAA.TV. 24/7, everything you need to know about high school sports in Michigan. Log on to MHSAA.com.
If you or your family is touched by autism, learn more about Freddy's Foundation at #PopTheTap at FreddyThePizzaman.com. That's FREDI, thepizzaman.com, or email FreddyThePizzaman@gmail.com.
Good morning, everyone.
It's time for Michigan Sports Talk Morning Show, broadcasting live all across the state of Michigan and Northwest Ohio. This is X's and Bros.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
It's a good morning. Wake up to a brand new day.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning, Vietnam!
Here's your host, Anthony Bellino.
Rise and shine, folks. Welcome back here. Hour number 2 on this Wednesday, the 11th day of January 2023. It's my mom's birthday today. That is exciting. Joe Kinsey doing God's work. Guys, check your Twitter DMs real quick. I noticed a Saints reporter is going viral and taking over the interweb. Might be worth going to the old Instagram as well. Do some further research. And check in what's going on down there in New Orleans. Heavens,
there is a road trip, I believe, coming up this year, too.
Are we playing that?
Good luck flying out there.
That may be on the list, according to some of my friends, so we'll see.
Road trip to New Orleans.
Yes.
Well, we have our we have our Saints correspondent. We're going to go there. We are definitely going to do that. That is high on the list. My goodness. All right. Anyways, we'll got to get back on track here. There is lots going on in the world of sports. We're going to try to get you all caught up with all the happenings. We'll do so right now in the headlines.
Big news.
I have a little news flash.
Let's check the headlines. Nah, it's real news for once. The biggest stories of the local, regional, and national news.
This is huge news.
Huge news. Wow. New Orleans Saints. What do they say? What's their saying? We'll go with that.
Who day?
Who day?
No, it's
who dat.
It's who is it who dat? And
it's
then
who dat.
since he's who day.
Yeah, the Bengals are who day and the Saints are who dat. The Philadelphia 76ers smoked the Pistons last night, 147-116. More on that game coming up a little bit later on in the program. The Detroit Red Wings in a thriller. They are up 4-1 at one point. They won 7-5 over the Winnipeg Jets last night. Michigan State 69-65 winners over ranked Wisconsin, so that's good. Will we see the Spartans back in the top 25 this year? That would be good to see. I think that they've definitely earned that. The question is, where will Michigan State's ceiling be? They feel like just dangerous enough to screw around and win a couple tournament games. The Detroit Lions GM, Brad Holmes, has backed Jared Goff and said, prove that he is our starting quarterback. We'll play those comments for you coming up in hour number 3. Lot to get to there. Did you see the amount of conversation that took place yesterday as the Bears GM had to come out and had to talk about Justin Fields as their starting quarterback? But the conversation of, would you trade Justin Fields and draft quarterback at number 1? I was shocked that was even a question that was thrown out there.
That the Bears are going to throw out everything to the media just to drum up interest from everyone to trade out for that pick.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why, if you trade back from
it's like,
we'll
trade Justin Fields, we'll draft a quarterback. It's like, we'll trade the number 1 pick, we'll give you the bean, maybe the aquarium keys. Like, everything's up for grabs in Chicago. You want a stadium? We don't want it.
We're going to get a new one. Ryan Poles is their GM and said he was absolutely blown away. He would have to be absolutely blown away to take a quarterback at number 1. Wow. I mean, that is that to me is
2
shocking.
QB system, read option every play with Bryce Young and Justin Fields.
Hate that. Chris Ballard said that he failed the Colts. It points to quarterback instability. Will the Colts go quarterback at number 4 this year in the draft? They're going to have to figure that out. They also have to figure out what their head coach, what that's going to be, and if Jeff Saturday is a legitimate candidate for that moving forward or not. Steph Curry scored 24 in his return. Wasn't enough for the Warriors, however. Last night they lost to the Phoenix Suns 125 to 113. Kind of a strange loss there, one of which because it came at home. And two, that's because Devin Booker isn't available for the Suns right now. So they relied on a pretty interesting, like overall pretty good team effort because there's no Chris Paul either. And you have Steph Curry, you have Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins. The whole gang is available there. Jordan Poole got him 27 off the bench last night, and they still found a way to lose that basketball game. It's just very uncharacteristic of what we've known from Golden State and how poorly they have played. The Heat went for an NBA record 40 of 40 from the free throw line to beat the Thunder. This is one of the big things when we start to look at the scoring explosion that is taking place in the NBA. Free throws are one of them. The Miami topped a 39 for 39 effort by the Utah Jazz against Portland back on December 7th of 1982. That's how long that record has stood. They were 40 for 40 from the free throw line as a team.
Butler 23 for 23.
That's incredible. The Cavs' Donovan Mitchell had 46 in his return to Utah, but the Jazz actually rallied and won that game 116-114. I had my first Cleveland Cavaliers fan tell me, I wish there would have been a way we could have kept Lauri Markkanen. I don't know what Lauri Markkanen's been drinking of recent, but he has been on Michael's Secret Stuff. I don't know if you guys saw the highlight of him running, basically parallel to the baseline and cramming one. But he has been playing at a lights-out level right now. There are a lot of people going, who in the world is Lauri Markkanen? Where did he come from? We mentioned the Red Wings over the Jets by 2. That thing got a little scary. South Carolina quarterback Spencer Rattler announced his return for the 2023 season. So he will be back at the other USC. Georgia Bulldogs defensive lineman Jalen Carter has declared for the 23 NFL draft. You had a return from Blake Corum. We didn't get an opportunity to mention that yesterday, but Blake Corum will return for another year at the University of Michigan. Tight end Luke Schoonmaker has declared for the draft. And a fan was ejected over a "Please Go to Texas" sign aimed at John Calipari. Can you believe that? The unidentified man in the lower bowl held up a sign for several minutes before arena security arrived following complaints from other fans. Kentucky basketball spokesman Deb Moore said afterwards the man was given the choice of putting the sign away but refused, and so therefore had to sit down. And Carlos Correa has joined 17 teams this offseason, finally gets a 6-year deal done for $200 million. He is back with the Minnesota Twins. So although he agreed to terms to the Mets, and then he was going to go out to San Francisco, and he was with the Twins, and now he's back with the Twins. It's been a wild. He went from $350 million with the Giants to 6 years and $200 million, all because of some knee video that's surfaced on TikTok that Ryan found, where there is some questions about the sustainability of his knee and the way that he plays the game. And I think that is just that has been an absolutely insane story. Tonight on the docket, kind of a quiet night for our local teams after everybody was in action. We'll have to wait until tomorrow night on ESPN2 for the Michigan Wolverines to get the Iowa Hawkeyes. You will get the Detroit Pistons hosting the Minnesota Timberwolves at 7 o'clock this evening. Timberwolves, by the way, a 6-point favorite in that ball game. So a little bit of, 11-33. I think it was our friend Corey Woods, who's now working for M Live. Remember, he went from Woodward Sports is where he got his start, and then took a job with M Live. The 8th youngest roster in the NBA. They're not even the youngest team in the league right now. And they have been this poor. Worst team in the Eastern Conference, 11-33, a .250 winning percentage. I get that they lost Cade Cunningham. I understand that. They got to find a way. And at this point, we're in the Wembanyama sweepstakes. I'm all in for the tank. Bench everybody if you have to. It doesn't even matter. This season has been, for as disappointing as last year was, this season is even worse. And we got better. We got more talented. We have a legitimate NBA shooter on this team. And this season somehow ended up being worse. Right? You were working the Pistons or Wings?
I did. Yeah, I worked the Pistons road game. That was something to behold there last night in Philly. You lose half your roster.
We will talk about that.
What are you going to do? Yeah, we'll talk about it after the break.
We'll talk about it next year on X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network.
Whether it's jackpots or colors of the rainbow, 7's a special number. At Meijer, it's no different. Get more for your money with 7 for $7, no luck required. Mix or match specially marked items. Buy 7 or more and get each for only $1. From Meijer Instant Oatmeal and Meijer Pasta Sauce to Meijer Facial Tissue, there's so many ways to 7 for $7. Plus, California Sweet Seedless Mandarins just $2.99 for a 3-pound bag. And shop the same low Meijer prices in-store and online. Exclusions apply. See all the deals in the Meijer app.
Bill Simonson here for my good friend Tom Rosenbach. Now, he's a managing partner at Bean Carter. They're one of America's top accounting and business firms. They're based in downtown Grand Rapids. They now have merged with Dorn Mayhew from the east side of the state, and they're stronger than ever before in the state of Michigan, the Midwest, and coast to coast when it comes to your accounting and business needs. Find out more at beancarter.com. That's BEENEGARTR.com. Also, Tom has stepped up with $1,500 in cash in the Beat Huge Pro Football Picks contest. Now, if you beat my picks just 1 week, you'll be in the drawing at the end of the pro football season for $1,500 in cash from Tom Rosenbach and Bean Carter. Thursday night game is always a freebie. You have until Sunday morning to play every week through the big game. You can play once or play every week. Do what you want to, but get your picks in now at thehugeshow.net.
Imagine this, winning big at Soaring Eagle and finding Piggy Riches for up to $10,000. Every Friday in January, one lucky winner every hour from 7 to 11 p.m. will break the Piggy and reveal their prize from $500 premium play all the way up to $10 grand in cash. Don't miss Piggy Riches, only at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Your getaway reimagined. Visit SoaringEagleCasino.com for complete rules and details.
This is X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network.
Welcome back here to X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network. Great to have you all riding along with us, no matter who you are, where you are, how you may be listening, all across the great state of Michigan. Text the keyword Sports Radio, send that to 21,000, Sports Radio to 21000. Meyer Supercenter guest line 248-951, 2176, 248-951, 2176. New York Scott is on hold right now, so let's get over to him real quick. New York Scott, good morning to my friend. How are you, partner?
Hey, doing all right, Bellino, doing all right.
Did you hear me slander you yesterday at all, or did you miss that?
I heard it. I was taking a quick smoke break, and I heard that ridiculousness. I thought you were different than these other, wishy-washy. No. The moment I heard Minnesota, I want Minnesota to win, just to spite me, a divisional opponent. I would roll over my grave before I ever wanted Dallas or Philly to win anything in their lives.
Scott, there's a difference, though, because if Minnesota wins, then I don't have to hear about how first-year head coach Brian Dable saved the Giants. Yeah, I don't hear all that.
You guys don't get enough Giants news out here anyway, so you're not going to hear that much about it. It's like, we got to win the Super Bowl to get on ESPN, so it is what it is. About that, and I'll clarify. So when I said we're not scared of Philly, I mean, first off, it's hard to beat a team 3 times. It's almost impossible to do in a season. And the second time, I mean, we're playing our bench bumps, and these guys are out here playing for a number 1 seed, and they look like crap. Let's be honest. Our backups are getting pressure on them. Jalen doesn't want to run. That shoulder's killing him. It's absolutely killing him. He threw it 45 times in that game just to win by 6. I'm not that scared, man. I'm not saying they're not a good team. I'm not saying they're not a complete team. I'm not saying whoever they play might be a 3-point spread and it come down to a last-minute field goal. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying the Giants won't go in there like, oh, my God, we can't beat the big, bad Philadelphia Eagles.
Wait a minute. When do the Giants have to play the Eagles?
Oh, once we beat Minnesota and however the chips fall, I bet it'll be the Eagles in the divisional. Who knows? But that's a lot of different forecasting that I'm not going to do. I'm not going to be USDA, Scott, that predicts the future and then ends up not coming through on that, right? Everyone's going to lose, and the Lions will win everything, and Super Bowl rings, and Jared Goff's the answer. He's the next Joe Montana. But, and then secondly, he had me laughing so hysterical. I mean, it was out of my mind. So he was saying, in 51 years or since 1951, I forget which one it was, or how old the man is, but either way, around 50 years, this is one of the most exciting wins he's ever had as a Lions fan. Okay, whatever, that's fine. Half the Lions fans will agree. That is one of the most exciting wins you've ever had. And then he turns around and says, I wonder if Scott would want to be a Lions fan over a Giants fan. Have you lost your mind?
Hold on. I think our local egg trafficker, USDA Scott, because if you heard hour number 1, the price of eggs is through the roof. So, the price of everything is high as hell right now, but especially eggs because the bird flu wiped out the population of the birds, and now they're not laying the eggs. That's why eggs are like $5 a dozen. Are you kidding me right now? Scott, this is out of control. Yeah. But I think that what he's saying is that today, would you rather be a Lions fan or a Giants fan today? I do find that to be a little bit of a stretch considering the fact that I don't believe Daniel Jones is the answer in New York, but you guys have a team that is good enough to make the playoffs right now, and you do have Saquon Barkley. So to me, you're going to need some receiver help. Going to need a little bit more help on the defensive side of the football. But outside of that, you guys are in the dance. We are not. There are plenty of teams that we could talk about that. Would you rather be a Bears fan today or a Lions fan? Little things like that. Absolutely, a Green Bay fan or a Lions fan today. But yeah, and it was a very exciting win to go into Lambeau with everything that was on the line for the Packers to send Aaron Rodgers packing, pun intended. That was a lot of fun. But you got to remember, Scott, we don't really have a whole lot to hold on to for a majority of our fan base that doesn't remember 1957.
Exactly. Well, that's what I'm saying. Also, it's like, if he's saying today, sure, yes. And I've been very positive on the Lions, man.
You have been, and we appreciate that, even though we beat you.
Yeah, hey, that's all right. We're in the playoffs, you're not, right?
We beat you, and you took Kenny Galladay. Double whammy.
I know. He's paying for that bump. But, hey, look, Ryan was telling me he was a little salty because that one-hander catch cost him money on his parlay. So, to you.
All right, you're about to get hung up on, Scott. All right, don't come laughing at me. I bought the Eagles down from what the spread was of 14, which you were losing by most of the game. And we only lost by 6. It just took some bum to make his first catch of the year in the final minute.
Yeah. Hey, crazier things have happened. I had a 3-leg parlay going on that Minnesota game until they kicked a 61-yard field goal. So, we can cry together, Ryan. It's all right, brother. I'm not mad at you.
See, that's a responsible parlay, folks. 3 legs is responsible.
Mine was 4. And Scott and I were betting on responsible things. A Minnesota kicker to miss, which normally happens, and Kenny Golladay not to do anything. Excuse us for making smart bets and getting burned for the first time in 80 years.
That's true. But I wanted to make the statement. There's no way. It would be a cold day in hell before. The Giants have more Super Bowls than the Lions have playoff wins. I'll never want to be a Lions fan over a Giants fan, nor would any Giants fan. So
Understand.
I'm glad you guys are happy. I'm glad you guys are looking at the draft and what you're going to do next year and how Dan Campbell won't start 1-6 and you might have a chance. Happy about all those things. But don't slander the Giants or the Giants Nation. We're too good to be at the level of the Detroit Lions. We're a successful organization. You guys need to be one. So there we are. Facts on the table. Love you guys. Shots fired. Go ahead and hit me off the air like you always do, and I'll call you later.
Bing bong. Can't really say much about that. You really can't. It is what it is. In the Super Bowl era, more championships than playoff wins. But, we've been playing football for a long time. Don't just try to discredit guys because they were leaving Korea, coming back, and leaving World War II and coming back and winning titles in Detroit. Shout out to Jungle Jim Martin, which we learned about in Detroit Lions Trivia, which we do an hour 2 segment to every day of the week. So let's continue. It's time for... Speaking of championships and playoffs, put this in your pipe and smoke it, Scotty. On December 28th of 1952, the Lions beat the Browns 17-7 in the NFL championship game at Cleveland Municipal Stadium. Who coached Detroit to victory that day? We've had some really hard questions, and we've been in the 50s now for 3 months.
The head coach of the
52
Lions?
championship team, yeah.
Well, it's because it's playoff time, so any Lions history, you have to go back 70 years.
Oh, boy. I'm going to just go with a name that
Wayne Fonts.
No.
Say it.
I'm going to say Dutch Clark just because maybe he was the coach after he played.
All right, not bad.
Joe Schmidt.
Correct answer is actually Buddy Parker. Buddy Parker is the head coach of the 1952 Detroit Lions. Wow. Didn't expect that. I didn't expect that. Nobody expected that. We had this segment carved out for a little Detroit basketball. We're probably gonna have to adjust that and just
given as much effort to talk about them as they gave last night.
Yeah, just still defensively just god awful. There's no stopping Joel Embiid. He's too good. Our entire team right now is injured. If you look at the injury report, you have Isaiah Stewart day-to-day, Jalen Duren day-to-day, Bojan Bogdanovic day-to-day, Isaiah Livers is out.
Can you put those in quotes? Is that allowed?
What's that? Day-to-day?
The injured.
Are you trying to say that we are pulling guys from the team in order to tank for the Wemby sweepstakes?
I mean, it certainly seems that way because Isaiah Stewart was perfectly healthy according to George and Greg, and then 45 minutes before the game he wasn't. So
shoulder soreness, maybe maybe he hurt himself picking up a box or something. Maybe he was moving or something like that. We'll talk to Logan Lamorandier on the other side. It's wild card round action over at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the National Football League. It's the only place to go, folks. New customers bet $5, get $200 in free bets instantly. Plus, all customers get a no-sweat bet each day of wild card weekend. How great is that? Download this DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use the promo code HUGE, where new customers can bet $5 on the NFL and get $200 in free bets instantly. Download DraftKings Sportsbook Use promo code HUGE. Do it now. If you or somebody who has a gambling problem, wants help, needs help, call the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services Gambling Disorder Helpline at 800-270-7117. 21 plus Michigan only. Bonus issued is free bets. One free bet issued based on amount of initial losing NFL bet up to $10. Eligibility and wagering restrictions and deposit. That all applies. Terms at sportsbook.com. No, sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms. Jeez, the disclaimer is just righteous on that thing. We'll be back. More X's and Bros. Logan Lamorandier next.
Imagine this, winning big at Soaring Eagle and having a winter blast with up to $25,000. Every Saturday in January from 7 to 10 p.m., you can win $1,500 in premium play. Then, at 11 p.m. each week, one lucky player takes home $25,000 cash. That's $160,000 all month long. Only at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Your getaway reimagined. Visit SoaringEagleCasino.com for complete rules and details.
Whether it's jackpots or colors of the rainbow, 7's a special number. At Meijer, it's no different. Get more for your money with 7 for $7, no luck required. Mix or match specially marked items. Buy 7 or more and get each for only $1. From Meijer Instant Oatmeal and Meijer Pasta Sauce to Meijer Facial Tissue, there's so many ways to 7 for $7. Plus, California Sweet Seedless Mandarins just $2.99 for a 3-pound bag. And shop the same low Meijer prices in-store and online. Exclusions apply. See all the deals in the Meijer app.
Bill Simonson here for my good friend Tom Rosenbach. Now, he's a managing partner at Bean Carter. They're one of America's top accounting and business firms. They're based in downtown Grand Rapids. They now have merged with Dorn Mayhew from the east side of the state, and they're stronger than ever before in the state of Michigan, the Midwest, and coast to coast when it comes to your accounting and business needs. Find out more at beangarter.com. That's BEENEGARTR.com. Also, Tom has stepped up with $1,500 in cash in the Beat Huge Pro Football Picks contest. Now, if you beat my picks just 1 week, you'll be in the drawing at the end of the pro football season for $1,500 in cash from Tom Rosenbach and Bean Garter. Thursday night game is always a freebie. You have until Sunday morning to play every week through the big game. You can play once or play every week. Do what you want to, but get your picks in now at thehugeshow.net.
Welcome back here to X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network. Danny Cahaler, Ryan Elke, Anthony Bellino, all joining you. Join us now, covering the Detroit Lions. For all Lions, our good buddy Logan Lamorandier. Find him on Twitter at Lamorandier. If you're not following him already, what are you doing with your life? Logan, my friend, good morning to you. How are you? How's life? How are things?
Good morning. Yeah, I'm feeling a little bit bittersweet, I think, because obviously the season ended well, but sure would be nice to be in the playoffs. And I told myself I wasn't going to be disappointed, but here we are, still being a little bit disappointed. And I think the biggest reason is just because I felt like if the Lions were to make it, they could have actually done something. It wasn't one of those years where they were like just snuck in or backed in and half the team's injured and they're not playing well at the end of the season. I really think the Lions could have made some noise in the playoffs, so that's what hurts. But it was what a way to end the season. I'm feeling pretty good about the future and just where the Lions are at. So I'm doing great. The Lions are really giving me a reason to hold my head up high right now.
Yeah, it really was, and we fielded some calls yesterday where maybe some people kind of feel the same because at one point the Lions did control their own destiny and they laid that that massive egg in Carolina. And then you can go back to earlier games in the season where some of those losses that were one possession games, you could have done this, you could have done that, but at the end of the day, this team, up until the kickoff of Sunday Night Football, 40 minutes prior to, this team had a chance to make the playoffs and far exceeded a lot of our realistic expectations of what the 2022 Detroit Lions would be. And I think that gives us a legitimacy for hope for the offseason. And maybe hope is the wrong word because I think that most people kind of feel right now like this thing is real.
No, I do. And that's the part that hurts so bad right now, that they're done. They've played the last game, because I do think it's real. And for a little bit when they started going on this winning streak, I thought maybe it was a fluke. But at this point, you can't call it a fluke. They had 10 really strong weeks, well, outside of the Carolina Panthers game, like you mentioned. But that's going to happen in the NFL, and it's really tough to your back stretch go 8-2 like that. That's really impressive. And so I think this offseason is going to be big. There's draft capital, there's salary cap that can be spent, and they're just going in the right direction. And it's odd because I feel like I always find ways to be hopeful every offseason, but this one just feels different than all the rest, just because of the trajectory that they're on and the team and the young guys they have in place. And I think a big reason why it's when the Lions started off 1-6, it was horrible. It was not great. And this is the same team, but it's just players now developing and all these young guys really stepping up. That's what carried them at the end of the season. And all these unheralded free agents, these guys that Brad Holmes picked up, and they're just maybe role players, but they contributed a lot to the team. So it's just everything's moving in the right direction, and you hope this momentum can continue from this season into next, because next year is a different year and things change. But it just seems like Campbell has these guys ready to run through a wall at any time, and I think playing against Green Bay with technically nothing to play for, with the playoffs out of the picture, what they were able to do and all the determination, and they still wanted to win, and that's not every team's going to be like that.
Oh, they absolutely did. And some of the play calls there, I want to get to Jameson Williams' touchdown catch that was called back. You talk about reason to feel excitement for the upcoming year. I mean, a little flea flicker action, and then the toss to JMO. That's a big time gain at that point on third down. It was 9-3. They do the handoff, the flea flicker. Jared Goff finds JMO, a perfectly thrown ball from Jared Goff, and Jameson Williams shows you what he can be able to do. I mean, if that's not reason for excitement right there, I wish that flag wouldn't have happened, just so we could have talked about that individual play more.
I know. I posted that actually on Twitter, the video of it, because I just wanted to watch that thing on repeat. I hate that there was a flag on it and it's not going to count, but it's still a glimpse of the future and what Jameson Williams can be, and just the element he provides with that speed. He even stumbled a little bit, and he's still outrunning those guys. And one of those guys was Darnell Savage, who ran a 4.36 at the combine, and he was still pulling away pretty easily from him. So it's just wild what he's going to be able to do. And I hope having a full season, a full off season, just to build upon and get healthy and really build chemistry with Goff, I think that's going to go a long way. Because it definitely looks like the chemistry was lacking, or Goff didn't fully know what, just maybe the speed of Williams. So I don't know. I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can do next year.
Just a word of advice for Jared Goff there. You can't overthrow the guy. He can outrun literally anybody. So just throw it as hard and as far as you can. He's going to go and get it. And Jared Goff, we've talked about him a lot this year. And I saw that you had posted this, Logan, so I want to read this directly from your Twitter page. That Jared Goff ended the 2022 season with a passer rating of 99.3, which was tied with Matthew Stafford from 2017 for the highest single-season passing rating in franchise history. This is a guy that Dan Campbell talked about taking care of the football. Those fumble issues that we saw last year that had us all throwing our hands in the air and our hands on our head and going, what in the world is happening here? Some of the interceptions that were thrown last year, only 7 picks this entire season, not a single interception over the last 9 games on 324 attempts. I mean, I don't know if it's quarterback of the future. Like, I don't know if that's the right way to phrase it, but I think that we have our guy under center, and this is the guy that Brad Holmes and company believed in when they got here and said, you know what, no, we're going to make this deal for Matthew Stafford. We're going to make this trade. We've got a quarterback here that can carry us while we continue to build the rest of this roster.
Yeah, and I think, what Goff did, really for a majority of the season, he had a couple games that were considered probably a struggle at the beginning of the season, and even a couple towards the back end. But overall, if Goff can replicate next year what he did this year, yeah, I think he's a quarterback you can rely on. And even Brad Holmes said in his latest presser, sometimes it's a lot easier to get worse in the draft at quarterback than it is to get better. And as of right now, the way Goff has been playing, I think it would be tough to improve from what he's doing. And now there's parts of Goff's game that I wish he maybe were a little bit more aggressive at times, but at the same time, when you're not turning the ball over hardly ever, that's a great recipe for success. It's going to win you a lot of games if you win the turnover battle. So I go so back and forth on it all the time. Is Goff the quarterback of the future? And I think he's at least deserved next year to be the guy. And if the Lions want to use both their high draft picks on more talent on the defense or just making the team better and just surrounding Goff with weapons and making his life easier, I think it's something that can work for the Lions. Now, if he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback and he's going to elevate teams, and when he has the entire games on his shoulders, is he going to be able to carry a team? I don't necessarily know if he can do that, but you don't need to if you have a good enough team around him. And it's happened before, and there's plenty of good teams out there right now who have a pretty mediocre quarterback, and they're still playing well. So I'm all for having Goff as the quarterback next year, giving him one more shot. And if he really flops and the Lions don't do well, they'll probably have a decent draft pick again next year, and you hope that's not the case. But I'm good with Goff next year. I'm admitting it.
He said, I'm admitting it. Like it's something like you're ashamed to admit it. It's okay. You can say it with your chest, Logan Lamorandier. On the defensive side of the football, Aiden Hutchinson with a couple of sacks, falling just a half a sack shy of the rookie record. I was very happy for him because I think that when you have some homegrown guys, I mean, we look at Eric Haas with the Tigers, we look at Dylan Larkin with the Red Wings, you might even say Isaiah Livers with the Detroit Pistons, right? There are some Michigan teams, some Detroit teams that have found whether they've been in-state college products or just products from the actual state. This is their home. Sometimes that could be a lot to try to handle, and there's going to be a lot of pressure, maybe more so than on another rookie. But I really felt like Aiden Hutchinson, I was weary of the sack number going into this year just because I wasn't really sure what to expect. I thought they got the right guy in the draft. It proves that, yes, they most definitely got the right guy in the draft. This is a franchise cornerstone guy.
He is, and I was thinking about 10 sacks on the year for him. That was kind of my goal, and he was right there. But he does so much more outside of just rushing the quarterback, and the way he improved and developed was super encouraging as well. You saw a lot of rookie mistakes towards the beginning of the year, and just the way that things ended, you could tell that he's a quick learner. His run defense is great. He does everything so well. And 3 interceptions, like I would have never guessed that he would get 3 interceptions on the year. He just does everything, and I'm super happy with how things turned out, and I'm looking forward, much like the entire team, I'm looking forward to what he's going to be able to do in year 2 and get another offseason under his belt.
You know, they beat the Packers 20-16, and the Packers wide receivers had some success. Christian Watson had 5 catches for 104 yards. Nobody else had more than 50 yards receiving in the Packers' total 205 yards, through the air. And I felt like, even without Jeff Okudah there, even without Tracy Walker there, these are 2 guys that, you think week 1, maybe for Tracy Walker, he'll be good to go by that time. Maybe they'll take it a little bit slower. But for that defense to hold up the way that they did against Aaron Rodgers, I thought was very, very impressive. The entire unit as a whole. Do you put John Kaminsky on your immediate re-sign list? Is there maybe somebody else? I know Jamal Williams is another guy a lot of Lions fans are going to want back after setting the single-season rushing record, albeit with an extra game to bypass Barry Sanders in the record book. But is Kaminsky one of those guys that you think that this team has to have back next year?
I think he is. He was pretty good, and he's more of a role player, so it's not like he's going to get big money. But with what he was asked to do, he was disruptive, did everything pretty well. And same with Isaiah Buggs. I think he's another guy, especially with them being a little weaker on the defensive interior, where I imagine they'll probably draft a guy, maybe even bring in another free agent. But Buggs still deserves to be around next year too. And a lot of those, I mentioned it earlier, there's just a lot of role players on this team that when they were signed, it's not like they were big signings at all. And these players were waived or cut. And the Lions picked them up, and they did great for them. So I'm all for re-signing those guys. And at the very least, I'm not saying that those are going to be starters, but if they're in a similar role or depth piece, they're going to be great depth options, even if the Lions are to improve on the talent or at least bring some younger blood in. All those guys are – it's all the Lions free agents. There's not many of them right now that I'm saying, I want nothing to do with him. I know the Lions won't get all these guys back, and some might get bigger contracts, but there's a lot of players who are going to be free agents where I hope they can bring them back reasonably priced and continue what they were basically doing this year.
And it feels like a lot of those guys want to be back in Detroit, which I think is very, very important. And that's something that's said from a tone perspective when you look at the front office down to the coaching staff. And let's get to those coaching staff members. I know a guy by the name of Ben Johnson, right? He works for his dad, Tommy Johnson, at Bill Johnson and Sons Wholesale Meat Distributors out of Milan, Michigan. They're driving all over the place. They're throwing hams out the back of the truck, right? I love Ben Johnson. Now, the other Ben Johnson, I was thinking maybe we could give the rest of the NFL my Ben Johnson's cell phone number and have him just call him. He can hook him up with a tenderloin and tell him to go fish. Get out of here. We don't want you calling our Ben Johnson. We knew this was going to happen. Aaron Glenn, Ben Johnson, they're the coordinators, a lot of the spotlight. And I think back to that Green Bay game, and really all season long, but the Green Bay game with the flea flicker to J-Mo, the hook and ladder that they ran with Amon-Ra St. Brown and the catch and the pitch to DeAndre Swift. The way that they managed that 2nd and 1 where they got the encroachment, decided to decline the first down to run an extra play and make Green Bay burn another timeout. It just feels like this group has such a good chemistry. Do you think we can retain either or both Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn?
I think we can. It's tough because Ben Johnson, he only has 1 year, 1.5 years of play calling experience. I think a lot of times head coaching gigs require a little bit more than that. But when you look at the type, like Cliff Kingsbury had a losing record in college, but yet the Cardinals still hired him and just recently fired him. I think when you look at the young offensive minds, those are kind of the hot commodity right now when it comes to head coaches. So I am concerned about Ben Johnson, but I don't think he's necessarily gone. I think he's definitely going to get some interviews, but I still feel like the NFL will probably want a little bit more experience. But who knows? And Aaron Glenn, I think he'll be back, but it's so tough to say. Sometimes these head coaching hires are kind of off the wall a little bit, or guys you don't expect to be hired. But I'm hopeful that both can come back, but I'm not going to rule out that possibility.
Boy, I sure hope they're able to keep this the staff intact at least for another year. And I hope that there is some belief there that these guys know what the turnaround in Detroit. They got a pretty good feel for what it looked like. I mean, Ford Field was packed every single home game this year. The fan base was, just the whole thing. And the journey that this team went on, the roller coaster of emotions that was the 2022 season, where we were talking about, do we need to start looking forward to the draft at 1-6? You and I sitting here having a conversation, disappointed with where this team was at and the changes that they made, the ability to actually show that they could rattle off an 8-2 stretch there in the final 10 games. I just think there's so much positive. That's really why I want everybody to stay. Let's just see if we can complete the job and get to the playoffs.
Exactly. Next year with, again, more young talent, maybe some free agents with the same coaching staff in place, I definitely want to see if they can continue that 8-2 run into a full season next year. Because that's just, I want so badly, everyone to come back. And maybe if they didn't, I wouldn't rule out the Lions aren't going to have a good season or anything like that. But whatever they're doing right now, it's working. And I want next year to start right now.
I really do. And I compared it to a little kid being at an amusement park, right? Or a moment in your childhood that you look back on, you wish you would have, that day would have lasted forever, because that's kind of how this season felt, right? Especially here at the end. Like, please, I don't want to go home yet. The party's just getting started. Why do we have to do this? And it comes to a close. And Logan Lamorandier, I can't thank you enough for being with us once again for another season of Lions football, man. It's always a pleasure to get you on the air. We thank you so much for your time every Wednesday, man. So thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure. Let's touch base soon as we inch closer to the 2023 NFL Draft, my friend.
Of course. I know. I can't believe it's already over, and always enjoy it. Look forward to it. And, we'll have to catch up soon.
Love Logan Lamorandier. Love the fact that he spends so much time with us throughout the football season, and just love where the Lions finish. Coming up in hour number 3, we'll hear from the general manager Brad Holmes on some of his thoughts from this past year as they had locker cleanout day, and there's a lot of good sound coming from guys like DeAndre Swift, like Penei Sewell, general manager Brad Holmes. So there's plenty to play and to get to you so that you can hear from the guys themselves. That is I think it's important, and I think that what Penei Sewell had said should make a lot of fans of the Lions feel very confident about what they have going on in Detroit and how meaningful the season was to all of those guys that were invested in those locker rooms. The question is now the upcoming changes this offseason. There's always so many changes, whether it's staff, whether it's personnel. It happens every NFL year, and that's why each year is so independent of one another. We'll see how much they're able to retain going forward into next year. We'll step aside. Hour number 3 is next. X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network.
It's time to go on the court with Anthony Bellino.
It's a new day to celebrate and be free. It's a new day full of action and excitement because it's a new day for winning only at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. It's a new day. Visit SoaringEagleCasino.com.
It's time for our Wolverines coverage to turn over to the hardwood, where the Michigan basketball team finds itself at 9-6 on the season thus far and 3-1 in conference play. It's been a very inconsistent year to date for this Michigan team, which has seen itself go 2-1 against Mid-American Conference teams, and all 3 were close, including a 63-61 loss to Central Michigan. But then they found ways to play teams like then number 3 Virginia and number 19 Kentucky to games that were losses but within 4 points. A 3-0 start in the Big Ten led them to the Breslin Center this past weekend, where they fell to the Spartans 59-53 while shooting a dreadful 15% from the three-point line, going 3 of 20. Up next, they'll head to Iowa to take on Chris Murray and the Hawkeyes on Thursday night at 7 p.m. on ESPN2 before returning home on Sunday against Northwestern at noon on BTN.
Fish On!
The Ultimate Fishing Show, Detroit, January 12th through 15th.
At the Suburban Collection Showplace with over 7 acres of the newest fishing tackle, fishing boats, and fishing trips. Take it from fishing pro Mark Zona.
This is the largest pure fishing show in the country.
It's the fishing boat show. Buy from dealers who know how to rig them right.
Shop fishing tackle only available once a year. Seminars on 5 stages.
Meet guides and lodge owners.
The Ultimate Fishing Show, Detroit, January 12th through the 15th. At the Suburban Collection Showplace. It's Christmas for fishermen.
Huge here with a reminder that I'll be live this Friday, 3 until 6, statewide, from the Ultimate Fishing Show Detroit inside Suburban Collection Showplace in Novi on the east side of the state. This is the biggest fishing show in America. Over 4 football fields of fishing tackle, fishing trips, fishing boats, and also it features like Ultimate, a huge indoor lake, on the water seminars daily. Look for the huge show live at the Ultimate Fishing Show Detroit this Friday, statewide, 3 until 6.
Whether it's jackpots or colors of the rainbow, 7's a special number. At Meijer, it's no different. Get more for your money with 7 for $7, no luck required. Mix or match specially marked items. Buy 7 or more and get each for only $1. From Meijer Instant Oatmeal and Meijer Pasta Sauce to Meijer Facial Tissue, there's so many ways to 7 for $7. Plus, California Sweet Seedless Mandarins just $2.99 for a 3-pound bag. And shop the same low Meijer prices in-store and online. Exclusions apply. See all the deals in the Meijer app.
Imagine this, winning big at Soaring Eagle and having a winter blast with up to $25,000. Every Saturday in January from 7 to 10 p.m., you can win $1,500 in premium play. Then, at 11 p.m. each week, one lucky player takes home $25,000 cash. That's $160,000 all month long. Only at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Your getaway reimagined. Visit SoaringEagleCasino.com for complete rules and details.
It's time for Michigan Sports Talk Morning Show, broadcasting live all across the state of Michigan and Northwest Ohio. This is X's and Bros.
Swings it out to Sadiq Bey. Defended in the corner.
To Abdul-Rahman at midcourt. Extra pass.
And it goes for the win. The three-pointer by Jordan Poole. Here's the give. Walker. Kenneth Walker. Touchdown. Spotty. Goff's got it. Back. Looks. Throws. Ends up. Yes. Caught. Touchdown to Detroit Lions. They did it. Amon-Ra St. Brown in the receiving end.
Sends one to deep left center field. Back it goes, and that ball's out of here. A grand slam from Miguel Cabrera. He's got 2 goals. Larkin in on goal. Scores! His first career hat trick in his 7th season for Dylan Larkin.
Here's your host, Anthony Bellino.
Rise and shine, folks. Good Wednesday morning to you. It is the 11th day of January 2023. We welcome you to X's and Bros on my mom's birthday. Very exciting times. Danny Cahill, Ryan Elke, Anthony Bellino, all joining you. Thank you for joining us, no matter who you are, where you are, how you may be listening, all across the great state of Michigan and in Northwest Ohio as well. From Traverse City down to the Glass City, GR to the Motor City, we say good morning to you. We welcome you. We thank you. We appreciate you. And, of course, we encourage you. Join the program at any time. Text the keyword Sports Radio. Send that to 21,000. Sports Radio to 21000. Meyer Supercenter guest line 248-951-2176. 248-951-2176. We're on Twitter at XB Mornings, Facebook, X's and Bros. And, of course, good morning to our television audience as well. BCSN now streaming live on YouTube as well at the Michigan Sports Network page. Danny Cahill is at Dan in the studio. Ryan Elke is at RyanL_Key. And I'm Anthony Bellino at AAC Bellino. Hey, is Scott calling back with a response to his USDA Scott?
Yes, he wants his redemption.
The chicken trafficker, is he responding to New York Scott?
Brother, are you there?
I'm here, brother. Sound like Hulk Hogan.
Hey.
Hey.
A few quick responses. First of all, I said, would you rather be a Lions fan right now or a Giants fan right now? I did not say to change your allegiance. I respect you for that. New York Scott. You stay with your team, and yeah, you've had a great history. We're looking forward. So if you're going to quote me, get me right. I didn't tell you to be a Lions fan or you should be a Lions fan. I'm saying that the Lions, every single prognosticator, I don't care if it's Orlovsky or Ryan Clark or Swagoo or Rex Ryan or everybody said nobody wanted to play the Lions if they made the playoffs. Nobody wanted to play the Lions. Are they saying that about the Giants? I don't think so. Secondly, at the beginning of the season, check tape, you and I talked in September, and we were about the same. We were thinking about 7 wins. We were thinking 7 wins would be a great season. 8 or 9 if the ball bounces right. Hey, guess what? We got it right. I didn't say we were going to the Super Bowl.
It feels good to be right, doesn't it, Scott? Doesn't it feel good? Just knocking one out of the park?
Yeah. And then finally, I just listed my top 10 quarterbacks. You asked me for 5. Jared didn't even make the top 5. He's 6 or 7. I didn't say he's the second coming of Joe Montana.
Yeah, this is true.
I don't care if you come at me. I love it if you come at me and you got your facts right. But if you come at me, you better have everything right or take my name out of your mouth.
Ooh.
That's all I got to say. Have a nice day.
There goes the chicken trafficker, USDA Scott.
Los Pollos Hermanos.
Call him up. Oh, man, that's good. Keep my name out your mouth, New York Scott. I like this. This is fun. This is good. This is good stuff right here. All right, what else is going on in the sports world outside of a tale of 2 Scotts? We'll try to get you all caught up with all the happenings. We'll do so right now in the headlines.
Big news.
I have a little news flash.
Let's check the headlines.
Nah, it's real news for once.
The biggest stories in the local, regional, and national news.
This is huge news.
All right, huge news. We're going to start in the Mid-American Conference. Full slate of games last night in MAC basketball. Kent State beat Toledo at Kent State inside the MAC Center, 75-63. Akron a winner on the road at Bowling Green, 74-70. Miami topped Buffalo by 11, 91-80. 85-79 was the final score of Western Michigan over Eastern Michigan. Of course, there was the great debate last night as one individual said into the group chat that Imani Bates' draft stock is on the rise. And the question is, well, why?
From where? Undrafted to last pick?
Well, the question was, why is it on the rise? And the response was, he hoopin', look at the stats. So I went through the stats of Mr. He Hoopin' here. And look, I mean, 20-6 is fine. Those are great numbers in the MAC. Those are great numbers. Your team has got to be better than 4-12 overall in 1 and 2 in conference play. You cannot lose to a Western team that just gave up 100 to the Toledo Rockets last week. You can't do that. At some point, winning matters. And being a part of a winning culture, being a catalyst for winning matters in the eyes of the scouts. Everybody is a hooper. He hooping doesn't mean anything to me. Like, you got to win some games, bro. What's going on here? You got a 30% usage rate. They're using you on a third of the plays. They're going to you. You should have 20 points. In fact, you should I mean, if you would add 20-6, he does have 0.9 assists per game too, so just under 1. If you're going to have 20-6 in less than 1 in doing that at Memphis, okay, all right. And leading Memphis, there's no leadership there. They're like, oh, you're a hater. I'm not a hater. It's fine. Did he make some idiotic mistakes? Yes. Do I think that his dad put him in the best position to be successful? No. Do I think that was intentional? No. I think they were put in a position, it's like, what do we do with this kid? Do we take him out of the public school? Do we try to protect him? Yeah, of course. It's a lottery ticket. But at the same time, it's like, look, you got to be out there with your peers. I don't know. I don't know. I don't see it, man. I really don't. Ohio 76-71 winners over Ball State last night, and Northern Illinois top Central Michigan 73-54. So that's what was going on in the Mid-American Conference. If you want to get a little action over on the Big Ten side of things, how about Michigan State? 69-65 winners against number 18 Wisconsin in the Kohl Center. I would expect Michigan State to be in the top 25 and get a fun little number next to their name next week's poll when that drops. In Illinois, 76-50 winners over Nebraska ball, which has completely fallen off a cliff over the last, 5 years or so. The Detroit Pistons were on the road in Philadelphia. They lost 147-116. That was absolutely dreadful. Just nothing good about that whatsoever. Detroit Lions GM Brad Holmes backing Jared Goff, said he's proved he is our starting quarterback, which is nice. The Chicago Bears GM said that a quarterback would absolutely have to blow him away. Absolutely blown away by a quarterback to take him at number 1 overall. Justin Fields already on the block, especially after the record-setting year. Oh, my God, he could have had the record. Dude, win games. Stats are for losers. Chris Ballard said that he failed the Colts and points to quarterback instability. Yeah, not only did you fail the Colts, but also we have to look at Jeff Saturday as well. Root for the guy, but I just don't know if that's the right fit there. Steph Curry scored 24 in his return, but it wasn't enough to lift the Warriors past a shorthanded Phoenix Suns team as they fell last night 125-113. The Miami Heat went 40 for 40 for the free throw line to set an NBA record that has stood since 1982. That's right, 1982 is the last time. It was Utah against Portland, and the Jazz went 39 for 39 on December 7th of 1982. That's crazy. The Cavs' Donovan Mitchell had 46 in his return to Utah, but the Jazz rallied in that one, 116-114 over the Cavaliers. Red Wings' big winner last night, 7-5. Saved some of the goals for another game, guys. South Carolina quarterback Spencer Rattler announced that he will return for the 2023 season at South Carolina. Michigan running back Blake Corum announced that he will be returning to Michigan, while tight end Luke Schoonmaker has declared for the NFL draft, along with Georgia Bulldogs defensive lineman Jalen Carter. He is out as well. We'll step aside. We'll be back with more X's and Bros after this here on the Michigan Sports Network.
Whether it's jackpots or colors of the rainbow, 7's a special number. At Meijer, it's no different. Get more for your money with 7 for $7, no luck required. Mix or match specially marked items. Buy 7 or more and get each for only $1. From Meijer Instant Oatmeal and Meijer Pasta Sauce to Meijer Facial Tissue, there's so many ways to 7 for $7. Plus, California Sweet Seedless Mandarins just $2.99 for a 3-pound bag. And shop the same low Meijer prices in-store and online. Exclusions apply. See all the deals in the Meijer app.
When you're in construction, you know that every minute matters and every dollar counts. You've got materials to purchase, employees to pay, and deadlines to meet. What you don't have is time to worry about your accounting, taxes, or ways to grow your business. That's where we come in. We're Bean Garter. And while your business is construction, our business is helping you run your business better. From tax planning, payroll processing, or R&D credit studies, we're here for you with concrete advice and answers. Let us help you build a solid foundation for your business. Whether you're a subcontractor, developer, architect, or engineer, of all the things you build, make your business the strongest. Experience service, expertise, and simplicity at Bean Garter. Find us online, beangarter.com. Bean Garter.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Listening to Michigan's statewide morning show, X's and Bros, right here on the Michigan Sports Network.
Welcome back here to X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network. Great to have you right along with us, no matter who you are, where you are, how you may be listening. All right, a couple of games we need to get to that we didn't have a chance to get to earlier on in the program. First up, Danny Galen in the studio was working the Pistons and Sixers game last night, a shorthanded club for the Detroit Pistons, and Dan might have raised some suspicion here, folks. He might have done that. Beef Stew out. Bojan Bogdanovic out. Isaiah Livers out. Obviously Marvin Bagley out. Cade Cunningham out. Jalen Duren out. Kind of a strange, the Cade injury we knew. Livers we knew. Bagley with his hand we knew.
I mean, I do think they are tanking. Like, don't get me wrong. I believe that what they did yesterday was on purpose, but I think they also knew they were going to lose yesterday anyway. So let's just sit some of the guys.
I like to see Hammy getting some minutes, playing 25 minutes, showing you that, when he gets a little bit more run, he's just got that such top-end athleticism.
I don't know. There's the Hamies of the world and the Kevin Knoxes of the world that when they play and, they get 18 minutes or something, they can actually do something. And then, when the team is fully healthy, we won't see those guys for 7 games. That just really frustrates. I know you can't play all 12 guys, but could you play 9 guys? It seems like they switch like the 7, 8, and 9 guys that they bring off the bench every game.
Yeah, outside of Killian, it feels like everybody else, they don't really know who they want to play on a day-to-day basis. And if you're not getting the reps, you're not getting the minutes, it's going to throw you off your rhythm. And for a guy like Hamidou Diallo, who obviously I'm a big fan of just because I think he's got just such raw athleticism, and sure, there might be some questions on the defensive side of the basketball for him, just as far as times getting lost out there a little bit. But you look at him; he was a -8. Alec Burks was a -9. Rodney Magruder was a -2. Every one of the starters was -22 or worse. Like that's pretty that's pretty crazy. And for a guy like Hammy who has the athletic ability that you want to see at the NBA level, it's frustrating for me because you should be able to go one guy off the bench, one sub off the bench for each one of your starters. Like you should have I don't understand why you can't have a 10-man rotation on any given night. It's just frustrating.
How do they not develop? How is Nerlens Noel the worst player on the team? He is awful. He does. Gregory was commenting during the game about how Joel Embiid was just using all the moves that he would get away with in practice against Nerlens Noel because he just stands there.
Yeah, I think it's an effort thing. Defense is all based on effort, and you have to really believe and try to get a stop. And I think that when the guy who you're sent out there to guard finishes the night with 36 and 11, I think that should be a little bit of a wake-up call. You're getting some minutes now that do you even want to play in the NBA, or do you just want to collect a check? That'd be the question that I would ask Nerlens Noel. And if you have in a perfect world with Cade, Jaden Ivey, Jalen Duren, Beef Stew, and Bogey, right? If you had Killian and Hammy coming off the bench, Sadiq Bey, right, trying to figure out who might be that 4 to kind of spy Bogey a little bit. I just don't understand why they can't go 5 starters, 5 bench, Maybe some bench guys will get a little bit more run than others, depending on, we saw like Jalen Duren struggle with conditioning a little bit. But another 3-game losing streak. That's what this team is. That's what this team's used to. They'll be back in action tonight against the Minnesota Timberwolves at 7 o'clock. Let's get to Dave in Hudsonville. Has a thought on the Pistons. Good morning, Dave. How are you, partner?
Hey, fellas. How you doing this morning?
Good. How are you?
One thing with NBA basketball, everybody's athletic, extremely athletic. And one of my buddies who coached in the league for 20 years talks about even the guys in the G League, they've got one or two small holes in their game that prevents them from making it to the show. You know what I mean? And that's how good those guys are. But the second thing is, on a roster, like spots 9 through 12 or whatever are journeymen. And those guys, they've made it there, but they've got some holes in their games. Or the second thing is, and Dwayne Casey did this when he was in Toronto. Nobody had a better bench than Dwayne Casey. Remember, you didn't even know those guys. And all of a sudden, now Siakam and those other guys came about. But those guys have a chance to try to prove themselves, and find some minutes. But at the end of the day, it's one of those things where, like, Nerlens Noel knows that Joel Embiid is a Hall of Fame player and that he's not going to do anything against Joel Embiid. I mean, Joel Embiid is up in Nerlens Noel's kitchen, man. He just has that spot. And that's why Nerlens Noel is going to hang around for a few years, then he'll be out of the league. But the problem is you have to try to mold some guys and find maybe a diamond in the rough who can turn into a consistent NBA player. And you see that, maybe 20% of the time, but 80% of those guys are going to float around the league for a couple of years and they're going to be gone. And I think that's the challenge, because back with really consistent teams, they have about 8 guys, sometimes 9 guys, and they find a consistent rotation. The Pistons aren't anywhere near that right now.
Not anywhere near it. And there's no consistency in the rotation at all. You have no idea when that team walks out on the floor who the hell's going to play that day.
And the other thing is, though, look at what Killian Hayes now is demonstrating some offensive ability. But we got him when he was, 18 years old? You know what I mean? And he's still so young. I mean, the best move the Pistons, made this year was getting Bogey, who's a professional shooter and a professional basketball player. But now you've got to have some guys grow up. Duren, Killian Hayes, some of these other guys have to grow up in a hurry, along with guys like Bogey and a few other guys that come to play, because you got to have that mix. And I think if Casey and the GM can't figure that out soon, you have to see some definitive progress next year, or it can't be Casey anymore. It's going to have to be somebody else, I think.
I hope they go in a different direction before the NBA draft this year.
Yeah, they might. That's very fair, AP. And one last quick shout-out to Izzo. A Tuesday night in flipping Wisconsin, when Wisconsin's shooting the ball, and Michigan State just takes punches and punches and then goes 8 for 8 in the last 2.5 minutes and finds a way to win. He's so underappreciated, and they're not going to win a national championship most likely, but every year, man, mark them up for 20-plus wins and going in and taking on anybody and playing, pretty darn solid basketball. So I always say you just can't take that guy for granted, because it's rare when you have that type. And they said last night in the broadcast, Michigan State's had 2 coaches in the last 36 years or something, or 37 years for basketball. That's pretty unique.
It's incredibly unique, and it's one of those things that don't take it for granted. Don't be upset if they don't make it to a Final Four, and be happy with what you got, because when somebody like that goes, I mean, you're looking at North Carolina going through it right now with Roy Williams leaving and Hubert Davis being the head coach. It's so difficult to find that level of consistency and that level of longevity in today's sports world. I don't think you can take it for granted at all. That was a good win last night against Wisconsin.
Well, and the thing about it is Wisconsin shot the ball so well. And one of the things, too, a former assistant for Michigan State talked about the fact that A.J. Hoggard could be one of their best. He said if he decides, and last night late, he decided. He made some plays that were really just, crazy plays and finished them and so forth. And they're not the most talented, but I tell you what, man, they can take a punch and they can give some punches and they hang around. And that's exactly what they do. And they find a way to do that, which is just pretty incredible. But we get spoiled a little bit for all these years of consistently very good basketball teams. And that's a shame, because it's rare.
It is very rare. There's Dave in Hudsonville. We'll step aside. We'll come back. The Lions GM and players and, locker clean-out day. Everybody talking to the media and some really positive things that should have you feeling pretty good. We'll talk about it next year. X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network.
The best vacations are RV vacations. Let's go somewhere.
The Grand Rapids Camper Travel and RV Show at DeVos Place is back. It's the biggest RV show in the state with the best RV deals. See over 300 RVs, luxurious motorhomes, fifth wheels, travel trailers, and ultralights. RV accessories and services, hundreds of camping destinations, Alaska RV seminars, and more. That's January 12th through 15, DeVos Place. Buy your tickets at GrandRapidsRVShow.com.
Huge here reminding everybody across Michigan to check out the biggest RV show in the state this weekend, the Grand Rapids Camper Travel and RV Show at DeVos Place. It runs Thursday through Sunday. Get your tickets now at GrandRapidsRVShow.com. You can check out over 300 RVs on site at DeVos Place this weekend, Thursday through Sunday. It's the Grand Rapids Camper Travel and RV Show at DeVos Place in downtown GR. Get your tickets now at GrandRapidsRVShow.com.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Whether it's jackpots or colors of the rainbow, 7's a special number. At Meijer, it's no different. Get more for your money with 7 for $7, no luck required. Mix or match specially marked items. Buy 7 or more and get each for only $1. From Meijer Instant Oatmeal and Meijer Pasta Sauce to Meijer Facial Tissue, there's so many ways to 7 for $7. Plus, California Sweet Seedless Mandarins just $2.99 for a 3-pound bag. And shop the same low Meijer prices in-store and online. Exclusions apply. See all the deals in the Meijer app.
You're listening to Michigan's statewide morning show, X's and Bros, right here on the Michigan Sports Network.
So in the song, they say queens get the money, but really you can get the money for wild card round action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the National Football League. It's the one place to go. New customers can bet $5 and get $200 in free bets instantly. Plus, all customers can get a no-sweat bet each day of the wild card weekend. Just download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code HUGE. New customers bet $5 on the NFL and get $200 in free bets instantly. Promo code HUGE only at DraftKings Sportsbook. If you or somebody who has a gambling problem, wants help, needs help, call the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services Gambling Disorder Helpline at 800-270-7117. 21 plus Michigan only. Bonus issued is free bets. One free bet issued based on the amount of the initial losing NFL bet up to $10. Eligibility, wagering, and deposit restrictions do apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms. Our good friend Brad Galley, Channel 7, WXYZ, caught up with running back DeAndre Swift in the locker room for locker cleanout day. Wait until you hear what he was going through this season.
I mean, obviously, you guys want to be in the playoffs, man, but the way you guys ended that season last night, that game, how can you put into words what you guys were able to accomplish this year?
Man, amazing. I'm just proud of the way that we fought, even the circumstances we was in. Just to go out like that in that scenario, finish the season strong, meant everything.
You started off with such a bang. Obviously, you were as healthy maybe as you were all season at the beginning of the year, and then you fought through so much. How proud are you of what you were able to accomplish this year, coming back from so much?
Proud. I'm blessed to just be able to go out there week in and week out and just be able to compete with these guys. And like I said, started off year strong, but was faced with adversity early on in the season. Was able to battle through our year. I'm just proud of the way I worked and just finished strong.
How much pain were you in some of those dark times?
As far as like injury-wise, played the whole season with a high ankle sprain and a separated shoulder, so kind of just did what I could, just push through, thank God.
DeAndre Swift played the entire season with a high ankle sprain and a separated shoulder and played NFL football. That's pretty impressive. That explains a lot. That explains a lot right there. It's one of those things you wish you knew ahead of time, but you understand why they can't release and say those things out to the general public throughout the course of the week, especially to opposing teams. Here is Penei Sewell, who, man, I really like Penei Sewell. I'm glad that we drafted him. He's got his foundation. That's why if you're watching on YouTube or watching on BCSN, you see the lay right here. That's from the Penei Sewell Foundation. He's a character, man. He is a character, and just happy that he's a part of this program and what he thought about this year and this team.
Behind you, how would you describe just what you were a part of this season?
I was truly a part of something special, and I thank Dan Campbell, Br0's for bringing me here, because I truly can't see my life anywhere else than be here than Detroit Lions. Every person that I've come across in this locker room, I've got none but love from, and I don't know how it is in any other building, but, man, I feel like everybody in this locker room is really close with each other and actually genuinely care. And that's the thing I really love most about this team. It really makes me want to go even harder and crazier. So that's why I can't wait for next year already.
Penei can't wait for next year already. And it's one of the things that we've talked about with just watching it from a distance, knowing that this team, even though they were 1-6 to start the season, they never quit. They never gave up. They never gave up on each other. It looked like a team that enjoyed playing not only with one another, but for one another. And that's something very special when there's not a lot of ego involved. And you know that the sum has got to be greater than the individual parts. That is so incredibly important, especially in the ultimate team game that is professional football. So then we can get to Brad Holmes, the general manager, talking about the season and fielding a couple of questions here in this piece.
Just in regards to the season, obviously finishing up at 9-8, 5-1 within the division, it's an improvement. I believe it is a step in the right direction, and it's another step to where we want to go. But we still have work to do, and but I do think that we're just getting started. I think we're just getting started, and we're just going to keep going up from here. Last year, a foundation was laid, a culture was put in place, but this year, in and off, I think the standard is set now. I believe a standard set, and that standard, it's not going to be compromised. It's not going to be compromised no matter what. And it's a standard of who's on this team, who's in this building, a standard of who's on this staff, and all of that's earned. And I think everybody did earn that this year, and couldn't really be proud of it. You know, you always talk about, we have a plan, and we have a plan in place. And we said it a lot last year. We have a plan. But really, when you have a plan, it has to work. And there's times where you might start questioning that plan. If the plan's not working, don't keep doing it because it's not working. But we stayed committed to our plan, and we had a disciplined approach. And see, we thought that even through the dark times, we saw enough growth that let's just stay committed, let's stay the course, don't waver. And I think that's exactly what our team did. And I think the adversity that came along with that, that's really what shaped us. So again, I'm just proud of everything, of what everybody did. With that plan, I remember at 1-6, everybody they were ready to ride us off, but nobody ever wavered. Everybody stayed the course, and I think they were resilient with the adversity that we all faced. And we made a commitment to build this thing the right way, and sometimes the right way it's the hard way, but it's just the right way, and we stayed committed to it. And we saw the growth, and we just stayed patient. And like I said, we just had a disciplined approach, and I think towards the end you started to see it really materialize. So it was good to see.
Incredibly good to see. And I like the part where he talks about the plan and trying to, stay the course with the plan. And then the hard part is at what point do you realize that, or come to the conclusion, this plan isn't working, we have to go somewhere else, right? And the reason that they didn't have to go somewhere else is because they could see the improvement. They could see the direction that this team was going. Even when they had to make a change in the middle of the season this year, they knew that they had what they had from a personnel standpoint, that they could make that change from a coaching staff member in letting go of Aubrey Pleasant. I know that he's taken a lot of shots. He's a good man. He's a fine coach. They had to change some things up. Sometimes that happens. And the remarkable difference that this team took defensively, the steps that this team took was simply incredible. He's gonna get asked a few questions here that I think are pretty important. One, especially about the quarterback position.
But I'll take any questions.
Brad, with that plan, some themes have kind of emerged with your free agency approach. A lot of prove-it deals and retention of your own guys that you know. I'm wondering, as you kind of evolve into this next layer of contention, I guess, does the free agency plan evolve in any way with that?
No, it really doesn't. We're always going to be very strategic and selective with our approach. Even back, regardless of how many resources you have, how much money you can spend, we always are very selective and strategic with how we go about free agency, and that's upcoming UFAs that are on our team, as well as external ads. But it's always going to be the same approach, and I think we've kind of proven that. Obviously, year one didn't have as many resources at our disposal, but we were very selective about who were the right guys, and being very selective about, all right, Alex Anzalone, he's the right guy. Khalif Raymond, he was the right guy. Charles Harris, he's the right guy. It's not that it was just a prove-it one-year deal, but it was the right guy. There was a ton of other options for, prove-it one-year deals, but we just are really, really strategic and selective in who get those right guys, and we'll continue that same plan.
You prioritize bringing back your own free agents. Is that going to be a similar approach going forward with with the importance of those guys to the culture you've built here? And I think, especially with Chark and Kaminsky, there's some questions. Are those guys priorities for you?
Yeah, I mean, those guys had good years. And look, as long as they're fits for our culture and what we're trying to build and where we're going, absolutely. Now, like I say all the time, those guys are UFAs for the whole league. So, obviously we know them and they know us. And I know a lot of those guys that want to come back. I pretty much me and Ray Agnew met with all of our guys that are coming up on expiring deals. And, majority of them, they express interest in wanting to come back. But I don't ignore the reality of, there's other elements of that business that, we're going to have to deal with. But it was cool to hear because those guys believe in what we're doing, and they believe it's the right way. They like how they're treated. They can be themselves, and it was just cool to hear that they think that we're doing it the right way. But yeah, we'll just see how it goes. But hopefully we can get a lot of those guys back.
Wait a minute. A majority of those guys. Who doesn't want to come back? Who is it?
Yeah, well, a lot
Who's
of
in there?
That's not. I don't think that's what he's saying. I think he's saying there might be some upgrades possible to the Alex Anzalonis of the world.
Well, Alex Anzalone had a good year. Much better this
he
season
had a good
than
year
one.
on. He had a good year on what was the worst defense in the league for half the season.
This is true. Can we focus on the positives?
I'm not. Alex Anzalone was just the first name that came to my brain. There are guys on this defense
that won't be around.
I didn't hear Jeff Okuda's name mentioned in these last few answers about guys that will be returning.
Amani Oruwariye.
Yeah, Amani's probably gone. You bring back Kaminsky for sure. You have Josh Paschal, Aiden Hutchinson, a guy like Isaiah Buggs, Ali McNeil. You probably cut ties with Onzarike whenever that's possible. Charles Harris, that one's probably done. So there's definitely some guys that they will have to move on from and upgrade. And even if a guy like Isaiah Buggs, even if a guy like John Kaminsky is a depth guy moving forward and maybe doesn't see the same number of snaps, quality of depth is very, very important, right? And I would much rather have John Kaminsky coming in than Charles Harris. Like that's just me personally.
You saw Jared Goff as the guy here. Even when some people might not have saw it, they might saw him as a bridge guy. You said all along you saw him, as a guy for the future. I guess what did you learn about him this year, and just entering his situation this year? Like how confident are you guys, to make a decision on what you need to do with him as well?
Yeah, I don't really know what the decision is. I was always confident in him because I've been with him from the get-go since he was drafted back when I was with LA. I just kind of know how resilient and mentally tough he is. And, I think a lot of it was me knowing all the success he had in LA. I think that was kind of forgotten about a little bit when he got here. And I think he was put in a very tough situation. I don't want to say I don't know how many quarterbacks in that situation that he was in last year, but we had a lot of injuries, man, and we didn't really have the weapons around him. Dan had to really make a very tough decision on the staff and make a change there. So, and he stayed the course. I'll talk to you guys about this at length, but knowing what he's made of, that's why I kept faith, kept confidence, and I respect the hell of him because I told him, look, we'll hold up our end of the bargain. Like we're being held accountable. We got to put you in the right situation with the right pieces around you. Stability on offense, and felt like we did that. And he held up his end of the bargain, and I think it just worked out. But I didn't really have any doubt or waver. Again, like you said, Eric, I never really deemed him as a bridge. I think everybody else did, but I think it's a little bit of the recency bias from what he had to go through last year.
Right, you had a lot of success with this rookie class. Can you admit were you a little bit surprised at how much success you had out of this rookie class and compared it to the first class that you had, a lot more success? Is there a reason why there was such a difference?
When you say surprise, I'm not surprised about the success. Now, you don't know if, Kirby Joseph's going to pick off Aaron Rodgers 3 times in a season. Or you know what I mean? You don't know if when James Houston gets going, that he's going to have 8 sacks in just that small sample size. I can't say we have that crystal ball, but we do know about who they were as football players. Like, we knew Kirby Joseph was a ball guy. We knew he was a ball hawk. We knew he had outstanding instincts to get the football. So that's not a surprise. We knew that James Houston had all the developmental attributes and traits, and he had the football character and the intangibles to work with that development. And so him having production, that's not a surprise. We knew Aiden. We pretty much knew what his skill set was and what his drive and determination, what his intangibles were. So I don't want to say like we knew that the statistics would be what they were, but we're not really surprised that they end up having success, and that's why we do all the work that we do.
And I don't think you have to compare last year's class to this year's class. I don't think, because when you look back at, last year's draft class, like there were some really key pieces there. Of course, we're going to focus on guys like Malcolm Rodriguez, guys like Kirby Joseph, guys like Aiden Hutchinson, and, Josh Paschal in his limited amount of time and what he brought to the table. James Houston, what he was able to bring to the table. Like they set some marks there for the most sacks by a rookie class in NFL history. Like that was a special year. You get Jamison Williams, as you maneuver around in the draft a little bit, and you go get your guy who you think is the best possible, wide receiver that is there and that you really liked, and he was still there when you had an opportunity to move up, so you went and got him. J-Mo's production this year, sure, we saw flashes, but in very limited, playing 10 to 15 snaps at most per game. Like, you just weren't seeing the opportunity there for a guy who didn't come back until after Thanksgiving. Can you compare him in that? I mean, because I would say the production of Amon-Ra St. Brown is worth its weight in gold. What you got from Penei Sewell is worth its weight in gold. So I don't know if there's necessarily a comparison to be made, last year's class versus this year's class or anything along those lines. I just think that they put together two really quality draft classes. Back-to-back, depth, quality contributors that have come out and been able to make plays, and it's a tough learning curve. When you look at the way that Aiden Hutchinson started there on the defensive end, sure, it helped when you got James Houston, when you got Josh Paschal, when you got some more help, when Lee McNeil got a little more comfortable, and Isaiah Buggs started to play a little bit better, and John Kaminsky was really coming on. That whole unit as a collective group is responsible for Aiden Hutchinson having 9.5 sacks, right? As much as it is Aiden, like the rest of those guys have to bring some sort of threat to the offense, or Aiden's not going to have any success. Right? If you're not getting that deep penetration, getting down the field, forcing the quarterback up, allowing guys to be able to step up, make a play on the quarterback, that's just, it's one of those things. And Aiden's got such a good motor, and it worked out so very well that you have, between, I don't want to say this about James Houston, because James Houston's a sack specialist, and Aiden Hutchinson does a whole lot here, but you've got some really, really good talent already in just one draft class on that defensive side of the football. That's where, if this team can lower that, opponent's points per game, maybe they add something on offense. But if they focus heavily on defense again in this draft, could be cooking with gas. All right, we'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same place, right here at X's & Bros, Michigan Sports Network.
Fish On! The Ultimate Fishing Show, Detroit, January 12th through 15th.
At the Suburban Collection Showplace with over 7 acres of the newest fishing tackle, fishing boats, and fishing trips. Take it from fishing pro Mark Zona.
This is the largest pure fishing show in the country. It's the fishing boat show. Buy from dealers who know how to rig them right.
Shop fishing tackle only available once a year. Seminars on 5 stages.
Meet guides and lodge owners.
The Ultimate Fishing Show, Detroit, January 12th through the 15th. At the Suburban Collection Showplace. It's Christmas for fishermen.
Huge here with a reminder that I'll be live this Friday, 3 until 6, statewide, from the Ultimate Fishing Show Detroit inside Suburban Collection Showplace in Novi on the east side of the state. This is the biggest fishing show in America. Over 4 football fields of fishing tackle, fishing trips, fishing boats, and also it features like Ultimate, a huge indoor lake, on-the-water seminars daily. Look for the huge show live at the Ultimate Fishing Show Detroit this Friday, statewide, 3 until 6.
Imagine this, winning big at Soaring Eagle and having a winter blast with up to $25,000. Every Saturday in January from 7 to 10 p.m., you can win $1,500 in premium play. Then, at 11 p.m. each week, one lucky player takes home $25,000 cash. That's $160,000 all month long. Only at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Your getaway reimagined. Visit SoaringEagleCasino.com for complete rules and details.
Bill Simonson here for my good friend Tom Rosenbach. Now, he's a managing partner at Bean Carter. They're one of America's top accounting and business firms. They're based in downtown Grand Rapids. They now have merged with Dorn Mayhew from the east side of the state, and they're stronger than ever before in the state of Michigan, the Midwest, and coast to coast when it comes to your accounting and business needs. Find out more at beancarter.com. That's BEENEGARTR.com. Also, Thomas stepped up with $1,500 in cash in the Beat Huge Pro Football Picks contest. Now, if you beat my picks just 1 week, you'll be in the drawing at the end of the pro football season for $1,500 in cash from Tom Rosenbach and Bean Carter. Thursday night game is always a freebie. You have until Sunday morning to play every week through the big game. You can play once or play every week. Do what you want to, but get your picks in now at thehugeshow.net.
We might have just come out with our most refreshing Michelob Ultra Organic Seltzer yet. It's called the Essential Collection. It's made with coconut water and real fruit juice, so it's always going to have a real refreshing fruit taste. Can refreshing get any more refreshing? Yep, it can, and it just did. Michelob Ultra Organic Seltzer, made with coconut water and real fruit juice for a superior taste. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Organic Seltzer, IRC Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Whether it's jackpots or colors of the rainbow, 7's a special number. At Meijer, it's no different. Get more for your money with 7 for $7, no luck required. Mix or match specially marked items. Buy 7 or more and get each for only $1. From Meijer Instant Oatmeal and Meijer Pasta Sauce to Meijer Facial Tissue, there's so many ways to 7 for $7. Plus, California Sweet Seedless Mandarins just $2.99 for a 3-pound bag. And shop the same low Meijer prices in-store and online. Exclusions apply. See all the deals in the Meijer app.